The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, and there's no better way to start off a Friday than with some Led Zeppelin, The Ocean. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Man. I mean, come on, man. Swing a little harder, John Bonham.
I know.
You walking, talking hammock.
You know, on the album, he has that cool intro on there that, 1, 2, 3, 4, steady they went. I forget exactly what he said, but he brought it in. Houses of the Holy. What a hell of an album.
Hell of an album. Hell of a ball game in Indianapolis last night. We don't talk Timberwolves very much on this show, but every now and again I have to go, holy crap, Anthony Edwards is amazing. Last night, 44 points, made a tie-breaking three-pointer with just over a minute to go, and then as time was ticking away, a 2-point lead, Indiana driving to the hole, and the Ant-Man with the defensive play probably of the season, a spectacular block shot as time expired. It sounded like this. Did it or not? Oh, well.
That sounds climatic.
Oh, here it goes.
Pacers have a chance. Up ahead, Neesmith. Blocked! Edwards getting up! And good night!
Aaron Neesmith of the Pacers drove to the hoop. I mean, he ran. So here's the deal. Ant-Man missed a free throw. Pacers get the rebound, charge down court to hit a game-tying layup, and Ant-Man back on defense goes up, hits his head on the rim as he blocks the shot. The man was levitating. He was sensational, and I was hearing about it all night, also watching the game, but then also my phone's blown up because my son was at the game. It was in Indiana.
Oh, cool.
He goes to school down there. He's actually on a plane as we speak coming here right now, so that's nice. But he was at the Pacers-Wolves game last night freaking out, and then all morning he's just like, I can't believe Ant-Man, I can't believe Ant-Man, I can't believe Ant-Man. So as we're approaching the end of the NBA season, the playoffs are around the corner. Make no mistake, the T-Wolves are for real. Although Karl Anthony Towns out for a few weeks, he's going to have meniscus surgery. He'll be back by the time the playoffs start. But I think it's great. I say take a guy like that out of the lineup right now. Let everybody else get some minutes ahead of the playoffs. Solidify everybody's confidence. I'm not saying they're going to get to the finals, but this is a team that's going to win a series or two. And holy crap, the Timberwolves, when they look good, they look great. And I want to say one thing right now. Candace Wheeler, good morning. You look great.
Well, thank you. I'm just saying that.
No, I
went from one ditch to the other.
No, I'm not just saying that. I can tell you haven't had any carbs today.
Well, I had a chocolate almond.
Well,
that's a carb.
Just
a tiny little carb. And Tony, I might say you also look pretty great today.
Wow, feeling great.
No, I mean, Zepp, you always look good. You're just trim, lean.
Got a booger in my mustache.
But
I just realized.
Low body fat count, all that skiing. I mean, you're just a gamer. Here's the deal, guys. I can tell when anybody's been carbing up in the mornings because you're ugly. You heard me. You heard me. A new study says eating refined carbs for breakfast, donuts, pancakes, sugary cereal will literally make you uglier within 2 hours.
No,
how about that?
Because you puff up.
How about that? Now, this is, of course, the only kind of study that you. Well, I was going to say this kind of study can only come from one place, and that is La France. French scientists, doctors studied saying refined carbohydrates do make us noticeably less attractive within 2 hours. People who eat healthy foods and others who eat carb-heavy foods early in the morning, their faces get a little puffy. They seem less attractive, and it works for both men and women. And in blind
Are we
tests,
fat-shaming here? The puffy look?
No, I'm just saying blind tests. People not having any idea what is this one group, what is that one group, does this group look different after 2 hours, does that group look different after 2 hours? Studies show if you're loading up on the refined carbs in the morning, you're just going to get a little odd. You're gonna look a little off. That's all I'm trying to say.
I looked it up. That's everything you would. What else could you eat for breakfast? Donuts, bagels, pancakes, muffins, white bread, and sugary cereals all include those processed carbs.
Oh, guys, I'm 45 minutes away from looking like the Elephant Man. Trust me. I loaded up hard about an hour and a half ago.
Now, what do you eat in the morning to look pretty?
Egg whites and grass, I guess. maybe a leaf, a couple of sticks.
That's why I hang out with alcoholics. You know, they're always drunk in the morning, and I look pretty. They drink me pretty.
See, it's all about the company you keep in both good ways and bad. You either elevate or they elevate you. It's one of the you're keeping up with the Joneses, or they're making you look great. Just because they're such a mess. So it's really that's the important thing in life. Just really pay attention to who you're hanging out with and what you need out of the day.
Absolutely.
I mean, listen, you have no idea how far you can get in life when you're in a rock band and you just can complete a sentence. I mean, it's like, whoo, man, people are like, that guy's he's genius. Look at him. He's talking. He's not cussing. Wow. He's like Einstein over there. It's really all about who you're with.
All right. God dang it. Now I'm looking at the list of carbs. I mean, it's damn near everything. I don't know why things that we like to eat can't be good for us, you know?
Well, it's kind of like I used to say, the guy, I don't know how many centuries ago, probably some douchebag in England was like, let's figure out what a garden and yards are supposed to look like. If you had just said that the weeds were actually the grass.
Yeah, right?
You know what I mean? Like, all that crap that grows where you don't want it, just make that the grass.
Right.
Why did we have to go come up with a strain of grass that's impossible to maintain year in and year out because of all the weeds? The weeds are going to grow no matter what. Make your yard just crabgrass, and let's compliment each other on that.
Well, that's because maybe for too long men have been completely in charge. Happy International Women's Day. I thought that's where you're going by complimenting Candace this morning.
Wrong.
No. We were talking about it before the show, International Women's Day, and we're going to, try an experiment this morning, which I'm sure will fall flat on its face because a couple of dudes came up with it, and that is giving advice to men in 3 words. We should put something up on the KQ Facebook page. If our international woman is up to it today, giving a man advice in 3 words. You've got 3 words. We're going to let you take a crack at it this morning.
Oh boy.
And then we're going to read some of those back. I mean, just to kind of get the ball rolling. We have some stats on International Women's Day. If Sid the kid is up listening, she's going to be pissed. She doesn't like this kind of stuff. She's like, oh, do we get a whole day? Thank you for granting us a day. You know, she's young. She has a chip on her shoulder. I can dig it. She was raised that way.
Sure.
We're coming right back here at 6:17. That feels weird to say.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday, March the 8th. It's also International Women's Day. Zepp, you said your daughter, these things, she's like, oh, I hate stuff like that. Oh, we get one whole day. And I totally get that mindset. Yeah. However, I would push back a little and say, I think these days are really important just to remind a lot of people who aren't paying attention that, not everything is probably as equitable as it needs to be. And there's been an awful lot of work done just to get to where we are. And it's just a way to say, hey, take a minute if you don't already. It's not so much for your daughter who's already thinking about these things. It's for all the knuckleheads like me who aren't.
Okay. And this is where you get the big eye roll from her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, but, I get it too. But it's a little tongue in cheek. I mean, it's not like she's that militant, but I can't imagine where she gets that chip on her shoulder.
Well,
it's
impossible to imagine.
Things. But yeah, I mean, good job, ladies. Good job. Good for you.
I grew up with a super strong-willed dad. Yeah. He was a Marine. He was he was a corporate guy. He was he ran a bowling ball company, and then he ran a radio station, and then he did a lot of different things, and he was always the boss. He was always the main guy. And he had 8 kids, and he was tall, and everybody looked at him like, oh, there's Mr. Gorman. My mom ran the show. I mean, it's just real basic stuff. And all of us kids recognized that early on. He was all bluster and kind of scowly, but literally couldn't have run the house for a day if left alone. And at work, all he did was delegate. You go do something. Yeah. Hey, go do something. I mean, he just this guy wasn't a genius. He was. He did okay, I'm sure, but it was funny. And my mom never there was never a conversation about women's rights or feminism or anything, but it was just on display that she was really in charge. I mean, we just all grew up seeing that. And if something happened at the house, she just jumped up and dealt with it. She never said, oh, honey, fix this. She was just like, well, whatever, I'll just deal. Because now, of course, part of that is, the dude beautiful Midwestern Catholic, born in the Depression wife and mom. She was just, if she stopped, she might have never stood back up. Of course, she was working like crazy. But I'm just saying, I grew up watching that. Her mom, my maternal grandmother, was born in 1884.
Crazy.
1884. She had my mom when she was 44 in 1928.
Show 1884.
It was unheard of then.
It was it's crazy to think about. She had a baby in her mid 40s in 1928. Oof. So check this out. She was a graduate of the University of Michigan, a school teacher, and she could not vote for president until she was 36. So, I mean, that's 1920. It's not that long ago. The older I get, the more I realize a century's not all that long ago. Because I can remember things that happened 50 years ago, clear as a bell, and you just double that up, and holy smokes. So, just real quick shout out to, for International Women's Day. You go, Candace.
Hey, thanks, man.
You got it, baby. We still gotta shore up the gender gap, the pay gap. We got to get rid of the pink tax. There's a lot of things that just need to me, just make perfect sense. And for the record, can I just say this? There's nothing political about this to me. My approach has nothing to do with that. This is just basic common sense to me, because every place I've ever been that operated smoothly, I'm not just making this up. I mean, honestly, there's almost always a woman in charge.
Yeah.
My band, the Black Crowes, we toured for years and years, and it was a complete circus until we got a tour manager named Amy Finkel. A woman came in and took over, and suddenly everything made sense. And it was like, we toured with Oasis. They had a female tour manager. So many bands, at some point you just realize, like, hey man, those women really like detail. They're really on top of the ball. They don't let a thing slide. And, that's an industry where I always hear people say, I can't believe how many women are in the touring industry. Yeah, it's because all the dudes realized, well, we're just knuckleheads. And man, because you put a guy as a tour manager, and the first thing he's thinking is, what can I get out of this? Here's some status. Hey man, I'm going to go to a bar and say, you know who I'm on the women just work. They're just getting the job done. They're doing their thing. Go, girls. Let's do it.
They're perfect in every way.
Exhausted. I should just go home and rest, don't you think?
Right.
That's... No, because we wouldn't know what to do.
Right, exactly.
You're missing the point.
Literally would not be on the air without your little fingers pushing the buttons.
This whole thing for me is an end around to try to get out of more work by saying, the women run the show, and then we can just kick back and get in the hammock and make a big sandwich.
That's what I'm hoping. But we put something up on the KQ Facebook page. Happy International Women's Day. Let's give a man advice in 3 words. Okay. Of course, we've got 2 out of 3 right off the top are men. Stop it. Put your keyboard away. Stop. Yeah, but Sue, keep her happy. All right.
Pretty simple.
Happy wife, happy life. All right. That sort of thing.
Hey, man, my every time someone's like, hey, what's the secret long marriage? I say, I give 2 words: complete capitulation.
Just say yes.
Because the truth is, you don't actually care. You care about not having your say, but you don't care what color the wall is. You don't care what couch you get. You actually don't care. You just want to be in charge. Get over it. Everybody gets along great.
Yeah, I remember the first, just getting married, and the first furniture set we bought. We get down there, and I'm like, yeah, that looks fantastic. They bring it on over, and I realized then it had hearts in it. It had little pink and blue hearts all over it. I guess I missed that in the store. Must have been bad lighting or something. I'm like, oh, okay. A couple of buddies come on over, and one of them sits down. He's looking around. And he goes, your sofa has hearts all over it. I'm like, yeah, how's your ass? Is it comfortable?
Yeah, right.
Mine is. Remember when we were sitting on that Siemens-soaked frickin' rocking chair that we had at the old place, that nobody really wanted to sit on. We kept putting paper bags down on so we could sit on it. Yeah. Enjoy the hearts, brother.
My 3-word advice, I'm going straight to the source. Sergeant Hulka, the big toe. Here's my advice for all men. Lighten up, Francis.
All right. Yeah, exactly. And we would like some advice from the ladies in just 3 words on the KQ Facebook page. Of course, you could call it in on the talk and text line, 651-989-ROCK. It's Movie Review Friday from a man. Coming up Get up here in about 5 or 6 minutes. Hang tight.
We are back. This is Steve Gorman and the KQ Morning Show for Friday, which means it's time for some movie reviews. Here's the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, good morning, Zap, and Steve, and Candace, and Tony. Good morning, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Welcome to Aloha Friday. This report brought to you by our good friends at Marcus Theaters. Now, you know about Tuesday, right? $6, any movie, any Marcus Theaters. Mm-hmm. And get ready because I'm going to tell you about a movie opening today, playing at Marcus, that you're not going to want to miss. So for years and years, come on, when the Oscars were on, it was like, oh, must-see TV, the Oscars. Now it's more like, I wonder what else is on. And the winners are so predictable this year. Come on, man. The big awards, Best Picture will be Oppenheimer. Best Director, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer. Best Actor, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. Best Supporting Actor, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer. The only category really up for grabs is Best Actress, a toss-up between Emma Stone in Poor Things and Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon. I kind of lean towards Emma Stone for that. Oscars are on Sunday. So, Hannah Reid, the armorer, on the movie Rust, was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter in the death of Helena Hutchins and faces 18 months in jail. So, look for Alec Baldwin to be found guilty of the same thing, the same sentence. We'll see. Say what? Now, Steve, we got to talk about this off the air. I mean, I know you've talked about it. 58-year-old Mike Tyson is going to fight 27-year-old Jake Paul at Dallas Cowboys Stadium in July to be televised on Netflix. I mean,
please.
You wonder, is this for real?
Yes.
I mean, don't we have laws in this country against elder abuse? If this really happens, though, I'm going to be in Dallas to check this one out for myself. Steve, we ought to meet for that. More ridiculous, Katy Perry showing her butt crack Wednesday night at the Billboard Awards for Women in Music. I mean, when she was on the red carpet, she turned around and her dress, her whole butt crack was showing. I mean, there she stood smiling, looking back. Boy, that Katy Perry has a lot of class.
Google.
A pretty nice ass, too, but that's another story. It is Movie Review Friday. Marcus Theater is the place to go see a movie, and a lot of people will be going to see Dune 2. But the best movie opening today, in my opinion, is Cabrini, starring Christina Del Anna, who plays Cabrini. Cabrini is a woman who in 1890 came to New York, no money, from Italy, but when she saw the suffering children, she fought the politicians, and she got orphanages, schools, and hospitals built. She fed the starving poor. I mean, it's an unbelievable, true story from the great studio, Angel Studios. It's my favorite movie of the year, period. 4 stars, Cabrini. In fact, it's so good, it makes me want to sing. It's Aloha Friday. No, we're to Monday. We're going to play the Aloha Friday. Have a great weekend. Talk to you on Monday. Lily Okalani, Lani, Ani, K-L, Ku, and a cock and a and hooey, 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 ho.
There you have it. Yeah, what about that Mike Tyson fight against, what's his name, Jake Paul?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to generate some dough. We'll see if Mike can whip himself back into shape. Mike and I are the same age, so I can just tell you, I've never been a professional athlete, but I can tell you in your late 50s,
yeah.
I mean, you've lost a couple of steps for sure. And just getting into shape is like, the equivalent of playing a football game and a softball tournament in the same weekend.
Yeah,
I mean, just doing the physical stuff you need to do to, stay in half-ass shape. So, I mean, good luck to him. Of course, he's an elite physical specimen in his day, and we'll probably get there. I'd like to see him kick the snot out of this. Who is this guy? Some YouTube weirdo?
If there was ever a time for Iron Mike to go for the first-round knockout, you don't want to see a 58-year-old man in the 9th round ever.
No, I mean, we're all thinking of Ali in that last fight, sitting there in the corner, Spanx just with nothing left in the gas tank and hadn't for a while. And you don't want to see Mike Tyson with some YouTuber, thumping on him. But Yeah, all right. I'm
But
sure it'll make $1 billion.
That stadium's going to be packed, and Netflix is going to pay those guys both a fortune.
Every seems like small town. I grew up in Woolsey, South Dakota, 350 people, has an eccentric. Everyone has that oddball in town. We had Liz. She wasn't that odd, but she had 2 pug dogs that she would push around in her stroller all the time, which seemed very peculiar to us when we were growing up. So we have a story at 7 o'clock. Authorities had to destroy a man's bathtub. Why in the Lord's name would the authorities destroy an old man's bathtub? We can't wait to tell you why here at 7 o'clock. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday, March 8th. In about 30 minutes, we're giving away Peter Frampton tickets because we're cool. That's right. We're cool. I grew up, from the age of 10 through like 21, I lived in a couple of small towns in Kentucky. And any small town in America, no matter what state you're in, you're going to have some kooks. That's just all there is to it. There's kooks everywhere. But, oftentimes we associate them with big cities, this crazy guy in Central Park. You always see something, that subway guy in New York was crazy. Well, I grew up in a town of 25,000 people, and I was closer and spent time in really small towns, like 4,000 and 5,000 people towns, all surrounding me. And there's kooks everywhere, man. And in small towns, they stick out even more. Like everybody, the town eccentric is a real thing. And boy, thank God, because it just makes life worth living sometimes when you look around and just appreciate the menagerie of talent, if you will, of humanity. And my family and I, my mom and the 4 youngest Gormans were all a member of a local theater group in Kentucky. And, we'd put on big musicals in the summers, The Sound of Music and Lil Abner, The Music Man, all the classics, right? And in a town like that, the local community theater group is where all the freaks go. It was just the island of misfit toys. I didn't realize that at the time. I just thought it was a bunch of colorful characters. And looking back, I recognized, man, it was so awesome that all the weirdos had a place to go, and it was cool. And they weren't trying to be weird. They just didn't fit in, and we all, everybody feels at times like, I don't fit in, I don't feel right. But I'm talking about real eccentrics just marching to the beat of their own drummer and then some. But boy, here's a great story from England of a guy truly on his own plane. There was a radio show in the UK. A host in the United Kingdom was talking about the RNLI, the Royal Navy Lifeboat Institution. That's basically the British Coast Guard. They just celebrated their 200th anniversary. And one of the anecdotes this guy shared was about a fella in southwest England who lived on the coast. And, it was a little odd, and I can see this guy. I feel like I know this guy. This is my kind of eccentric. Check this out.
They had a guy in the harbour where they worked who was being rescued once a week, constantly rescued, because it was the southwest of England. He had a bathtub, and he was going out in the bathtub with his dog with the intention of going to Scotland. And he would get just to about half a mile, and then start sinking every single time. And they said, bless them, in the end, the only way we could save that guy's life was to break up his bathtub. So in the middle of the night, they just smashed it up, and that was the end of that.
All right, so there's a guy in the southwest of England, and by God, he's going to row his bathtub with his dog to Scotland. I mean, just look at the map sometime. That's not a short. That's not like across the Mississippi River. That's miles and miles. That's hundreds of miles. In the North Atlantic. Like U-boat jellyfish territory. Cold water, like in a bathtub. What's that tub made of? And he would get a half a mile to a mile in before he started to sink every time. And I just love the idea of the Coast Guard being like, there he goes again. How long do you think we'll go this time? They rescued this guy week in and week out.
Yeah, he made about a mile in a bathtub. I'm impressed. I wouldn't think he'd make it out of the harbor. Could you have hitched him a ride, given him a ride to Scotland or something, bought him a rowboat? I hope he has a shower or something,
and
probably not his working tub.
I guarantee you, all the neighbors, this guy's friends, and Southwest England's pretty remote, rural, the Devon, it's farmland out there. I imagine everybody's like, hello, Jerry. How far did you make it this week? I took in water about 3/4 of a mile out. Oh, better luck next time, love. And they just went on about their business. They didn't freak out about it.
Yeah.
Jerry's gonna Jerry. That's what he does. I love the idea. I love the thought of a guy like, I'm going to make it to Scotland this time. I'm going to get some of that haggis I've always heard about. It's a sheep's bladder, stuff with mincemeat. I've got to row this boat up there. I hope he has like one of those World War I weird mustaches that points out, and then I just picture an old school guy like, this bathtub has survived 80 years and it'll get me to Scotland. Just he's got to be wearing a scarf. Flamboyant flyer.
There's a pipe out of his mouth, as he's chin up, chest out, paddling along the proper British way. I'm thinking about his dog. What the dog I'm picturing is the Grinch's dog, that's like, are you kidding me? We're doing what? I'm not putting the horns and pulling the sleigh. This dog's out there going, would someone please smash this tub into pieces? Or maybe the dog just loved it. Maybe he did it for the dog. Who knows?
When those Coast Guard guys showed up with those sledgehammers and beat that tub into a billion pieces, that dog was licking their hands and faces. He was doing backflips, man.
God almighty.
You have saved me. In my small town, there was a guy named Bird Dog, and everybody knows Bird Dog. And he is just he looked like a bit of a ruffian. At the old days, you might have called him a hobo.
Right.
And he sat a lot of days on the courthouse steps right downtown. And my town, Hopkinsville, it's got like a proper old school downtown, from the 19th century, 1800s. The town was founded, I think, in late 1700s. But by the time they're building it up, so you got the old school courthouse, you got some office buildings, an old theater. It's traditional small town stuff. And this guy would just sit on the front steps of various buildings in various states of disarray. I guess it depended on what he was getting into. But we moved to that town, and we didn't know that there was a guy named Bird Dog. We had not been told about him yet. And we were driving by one day, and my brother Jim he just looked over and saw a guy. He looked like Michael McDonald on a bender. You know what I mean? Just kind of mid-70s Michael McDonald, big bushy beard. Or maybe more like a Dan Haggerty, Grizzly Adams on a bender. Mm-hmm. And my brother used to just kind of bark at people anyway. He'd go, woo! He would just do that out the window just to get someone's attention. And he barked at this guy. He went, woo! Well, this guy happened to be named Bird Dog, and the reason was because he barked like a dog and chased cars.
Oh, boy. Now it's on.
And this guy jumped up. He leapt to his feet and sprinted after our car going, rah, 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 rah. And, man, we were just like, what the hell is happening?
Don't try to alpha Bird Dog.
Oh, no. And then, of course, mentioned it to friends. So, oh, yeah, that was Bird Dog. I'm like, wait, that's a guy. Oh, yeah, you don't know Bird Dog? Everyone knows Bird Dog. He was around for years. True story, in the 90s, hit by a car and killed.
Oh, well.
True story.
That sounds like, you remember the movie The Last Picture Show?
Yeah.
There was a guy who was the town character, and he would sweep the streets.
Yeah, that's right.
With a broom. Oh. He was hit by a car at the end.
That's it.
Oh.
That's exactly right.
God, man. Sucks, man.
I know
there's a lot of Minnesota folks that go out to Big Sky, Montana skiing. A lot of people, their kids go to school out there, and there's a guy out there, Pig. I think he's still around there, but he's, I think, homeless. Some people say he's not homeless, but he lives in a cardboard box out at the ski resort all winter long. He's got his little cooker in there, and he skis every day. You see Pig. Hey, Pig, what you up to today? I was working on my turns, but people will drop socks off for him occasionally, and I'm like, well, how does he get a frickin' season pass? They're like, well, he does little odd jobs around the area, but, you want to see him. There's something sort of comforting, and last I know, Pig hasn't been mowed down by a car. I'm pulling for him. Still out there working on his turns this winter. Yeah, but small town eccentrics. They're I mean, remember that Liz gal that we, because we're kids growing up in the 70s. There's nothing enlightened about us. We used to make fun of her for pushing these pugs around town. And I think now that I think about it, she might have had as many as 4. There were a lot of pugs, and she had them in the stroller, and she would just take them out for a walk. And in a small town of 300 people, that was eccentric. That was odd.
Of course.
And she lived by herself in this little house on the end of town. It was fairly stereotypical for a small town eccentric. But I remember coming back from the service and seeing her pushing those pugs down the road. And there wasn't anything but just a warm feeling in my heart knowing she was still pushing those pugs around. But she's since aged and passed away, not hit by a car, by the way.
There were the theater group that my family, we all participated in the shows. The theater group was founded and run by 2 women, and their names were Tiger and Nita. And they were just salt of the earth, great family friends. Tiger's no longer with us. Nita's still. I went and saw Nita last year when I was visiting my mom. I stopped by and saw Nita. These are just the loveliest people. Nita directed the plays. Tiger produced the plays, for whatever that meant. And they ran this theater group just with heart and grit and soul. And they saw it, I think, truly as a place for anybody. And I mean, you'd have like a Baptist preacher, and then you'd have a kid who was obsessed with finger painting in the same scene working together. I mean, every possible, very, very flamboyant, mid-70s small-town flamboyant gay guy doing a scene with that preacher's daughter. I mean, everybody was cool. It was like I said, the Island of Misfit Toys, no judgment. Yeah. It was a place to perform. And it really was a magical place. And every year on New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, Tiger and Nita had an open house, and they would have fondue, and everybody would come to their house and hang out. And they were they weren't hoarders, but their house was just full of cool stuff. Every room had a TV and a VCR. Tiger had probably 7,000 stuffed tigers of all sizes throughout the house. I mean, they were just kooks in all the best ways. Nice. And we just loved them to death. And they would put on these plays, and they were pretty good. We were all right. My mom was always involved in playing the shows. Anyway, it was just the greatest thing in the world. And I remember very seriously, specifically, the first time I went to their house, I'd never seen a house that just had stuff everywhere. Like my house, everything was put away. There's a place for everything, and their house, just like every room was just like an antique store, the way it's stuffed. Like every tabletop had there's 9 old National Geographics, and there's a Life magazine, and there's an old Playboy magazine, and here's a Sprite bottle from 1961. I mean, it was just but it was cool. It was just such a place where, and of course, they're the folks that had a ghost that lived upstairs, Harvey, and they'd hear him walking around. You'd hear footsteps and stuff. It was just the best. And they lived right across the street from the Edgar Casey house. Ever heard of Edgar Casey?
Absolutely.
He's the Hopkinsville, Kentucky clairvoyant, the sleeping prophet. He would go into a trance and then have clairvoyant visions, and he just slept, and he had laryngitis for years at a time. He was a really strange old character. And I've always thought, if that guy's from Hopkinsville, the town's just got to have a bunch of kooks.
That's cool.
And Edgar Casey's a world-famous clairvoyant who, as it turned out, basically everything he ever said, people have been none of that actually happened. None of that was true. He was just kind of, I don't know if he was a snake oil salesman, but he was cuckoo to say the very least. He was cuckoo. Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
outstanding. Yeah. Small town eccentrics. We might have to revisit that a little bit later on. We've got a jam-packed show for you. Shane Torres is headlining Acme Comedy Company. He's going to join us at 9:30.
Nice.
At 8 o'clock. Listen to this. Is this the coolest frickin' job title ever? CIA Chief of Disguise. Holy hell. Jana Mendez held that position. Yeah, True Face, a woman's life in the CIA here on International Women's Day. Who says we don't care? That's at 8 o'clock. Right now, it's game show time, baby. Callers 9 and 2, 651-989-ROCK. This morning we're playing Alexa Theater. It's the Oscars this Sunday for a chance to win tickets to Peter Frampton, Monday, April 1st at the State Theater. Thank you to Jam Productions for those tickets. Our runner-up today, well, if you like it louder, you might want to throw the game. Jack Russell's Great White and Lynch Mob tomorrow night at the Medina. And we always appreciate the Medina Entertainment Center sending us some tickets. Callers 9 and 2, 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck and hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday, March the 8th. Ozzy Osbourne, Crazy Train. That was Ozzy's first single. Coming out of the gate strong, Ozzy Osbourne. kicked to the curb. Black Sabbath just left him on the side of the road for dead. Nobody believed in the man. He goes into the studio, puts a band together, makes a record, and Crazy Train's his first single.
Wow.
That's astonishing. Probably, is that his most iconic song, Candace?
I guess, but also off that album, Blizzard of Oz, is my favorite song, I Don't Know. It's called I Don't Know, but that's the first song on that album, and it's amazing. It's such a beautiful message.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, but generally speaking, to the average rock fan, you think Crazy Train first still?
Absolutely. I still get asked all the time if my band will play that, and I'm like, nah, dude, that's solo Ozzy.
Man, you guys keep it pure. You're truly just Sabbath, and it's the deep cuts. Yeah, man. Of course it is. Ozzy finally nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year for the first time as a solo artist. Ozzy and Foreigner. I would bet the house Ozzy gets in without question, and I'd give Foreigner even odds. I'd go 50-50 chance they get in. I think they should be in, but I think Ozzy's a shoe-in, and I think Foreigner's they have to get shoehorned in, I guess is what I would say. And we'll see. We'll all find out soon enough. Peter Frampton also on that list. How about that? Peter Frampton nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for the first time this year. Peter Frampton's his response to being nominated was, "I thought I was already in."
Did he seriously?
Yeah, and then he clarified. He said, actually, I've spoken with several people at the Hall over the years. You know, he was with Sheryl Crow when she was just inducted, and he said folks from the Hall were like, oh, Peter, what year were you inducted? And he was like, I'm not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and people were shocked. So another long overdue entry, I should say, to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I do believe he'll get in this year. Whether he does or not, Monday, April 1st, Peter Frampton will be right here in Minneapolis at the State Theater. And hey, guess what? We've got some tickets and we want to give them away. Again, Monday, April 1st, State Theater. Frampton will be very much alive, and we are going to give away 2 tickets. We've got 2 callers ready to play. Tony, what will they be playing?
Well, you know, it's Oscar Sunday. We all know that. How fun. So we asked Alexa, our buddy, to provide her best delivery of lines from movies. We're going to take 2 contestants. Alexa's going to read the lines. You identify the movie the line is from, and the best score wins. We took these from the AFI, American Film Institute, 100 most famous movie quotes. I'm going to be generous here. I'm going to give each person like 10 of them.
I like it.
It's going to go something like this.
What a talent.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What a talent.
I think you have a talent. A great talent. Showtime. Showtime.
Wow. What a show.
What a show.
Aw. What the hell happened?
Right after Christopher Walken. Let's try that again.
What a talent.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What a talent.
I think you have a talent. A great talent. Showtime. Showtime.
Wow. What a show.
What a show.
You know, it may be crazy, but we're going to do it. Hey, I think it'll work.
The KQ Morning Show presents
Alexa
Theater. It's time for me.
Well, that's more like it.
I like it, Alexa Theater. It's always a good time. Peter Frampton tickets on the table. Who's going to grab them? Candace, who's caller number 1?
We have Bob from Apple Valley.
Bob, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks to talk to you.
Yeah, it's great to have you. What's going on over in Apple Valley this morning?
Just on my way over to Hastings High School where I work. So on my nice little half-hour commute, enjoying the morning show.
Go Raiders.
Oh, yeah, right on. Go Raiders. Hey, if I'm out there tonight and I want to get a beer and shoot some pool, where should I go?
Well, I think the Beer Stoop's always a choice place to hit up in Hastings.
Okay.
The best. Get the heart steak.
All right. That'll work. Always looking for local 411. Thank you, brother. Are you ready to play Alexa Theater?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, Tony.
All right, we're going to play the clips. You give us the movie. Here's your first one.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Gone with the Wind.
Attaboy.
Right on. Next up.
You had me at hello.
Jerry Maguire.
Yes, sir.
Listen to Bobby Hollywood coming in strong. I like it.
Number 3.
You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do ya, punk?
Clint Eastwood. Oh, my gosh. Which one is it of his series?
Oh, come on.
The iconic.
Dirty Harry. This is Dirty Harry, right?
Yes, it is. Dirty Harry.
You are right, yeah, punk. I like that pronunciation.
Next up.
I'll have what she's having.
When Harry Met Sally.
Wow. Just on a tear.
Here you go.
There's no crying in baseball.
Oh, gosh. Tom Hanks, A League of Their Own.
Yes.
Wow. 5 for 5, Bobby.
Oh, boy. Keep it going.
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
Wall Street. Michael Douglas.
Wow.
Yeah, like literally Bobby Hollywood. At first I thought it was kind of funny. Now it's just what it is.
Say hello to my little friend.
Say hello to my little friend. Oh, goodness. This one's killing me. I know it, but it's not coming to me.
Come on.
Just say it again. Say the line again. You'll hear it.
Say hello to my little friend.
I don't got it.
Oh. Say hello to my little friend.
Scarface, man.
Scarface. Oh, yes. Scarface.
Tony, why do you want to screw me, Tony? But he didn't say screw. Wow. 6 for 7, Bobo.
All right. Keep it going here.
A census taker once tried to test me. I ate his liver with Chianti.
Silence of the Lambs. Hannibal
Yes,
Lecter.
sir.
Chianti.
Yeah, Alexa didn't get the in there. That's the creepy part.
Hard to type that out. All right. 2 more, my friend.
Yo, Adrian.
Rocky.
Of course.
Man, Bob, you are at the precipice of going 9 for 10. This is outstanding work. Let's do this.
Oh, proud. Here's your last one.
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Airplane.
Ah,
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Aeroplane.
Woo! Holy
Very
smokes.
nice. Good
Very,
run.
very, very.
The Scarface one kills me, but yeah. Just heat of the moment.
Man, that is absolutely
Thanks,
awesome.
Now, if you're an A student.
90% ain't bad.
Yeah, that was great. The airplane one, I was like, wait a minute, what is? Yeah, that's right. Every one of them, I know it, but it takes a second. You went 9 for 10. That was pretty great, really great, Bob. Well done. Sit tight. We're going to go to contestant number 2. Candace, who we got?
Teresa from Holton, Wisconsin.
Teresa from Holton. Good morning.
Good morning.
Teresa, if I'm in Holton tomorrow morning, breakfast spot, where do I go? Where do I get where's some good eggs, bacon, the whole sides? Where do I go? What's a greasy
Well,
spoon?
the only business here is either a strip club called the Cajun Club,
Okay.
or I think it's called the Next Stop.
Okay.
It's a bar restaurant. I'm not sure if I believe they open at 8.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd love the Cajun Club, Steve. No pasties.
Okay, fair enough. Well, it looks like red beans and rice for breakfast. And Teresa, let's play Alexa Theater. Are you ready to rock? Now, Bob went 9 for 10, so there's a little bit of pressure here, Teresa.
Yeah, a lot of pressure.
We believe in you, dear. Let's do it.
Step it up. You can do it, Teresa. Here you go. Here's your first one.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Titanic.
Oh,
shoot. Jaws, the big sharky.
Man, okay. You know what? We're still in it.
Yeah, you are.
You can go on a 9-run tear right now. Let's do it.
Number 2.
Toga, toga, toga.
Animal House.
Yes. Yep. Now you're talking.
All right, next up.
I see dead people.
The Sixth Sense.
Yes.
Bingo.
Next up.
Cinderella story. Out of nowhere.
You can do it.
I have no idea.
Okay, I got to give you a clue. Just picture a golf club.
Oh, is that?
Come on.
What is it, Billy Madison?
Oh, man.
Oh, shoot. So close.
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack.
But it was. But hey, that was a good guess. All right, we're gonna keep going though. We got to play out the side here, Teresa. You still got a runner-up prize on the table.
Let's run through the rest just for fun.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
That is Dirty Dancing.
Yes,
Boom.
it is.
Yes, it is.
Speaking of the Cajun Club.
Yeah.
I guess it comes down to a simple choice. Get busy living or get busy dying.
Philadelphia? I don't know.
Oh, that was a good guess. No, Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, red. All right, a few more for you.
We are the knights that say knee.
I have no idea.
Oh, Monty Python's Holy Grail.
Oh.
Oh, Teresa. Okay, 3 more.
The dude abides.
What was that again?
The dude abides.
The dude abides.
The Great Lebowski.
Close
We'll
enough.
give it to
The
her.
Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Also great, I
Yes.
think, in its own way.
Sure.
2 more to close it out.
You gotta get them close like this, and bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
Oh, boy.
Mm.
Godfather?
Yes.
Hey.
All right.
Teresa coming in strong.
All right, Teresa, your last one.
Hey everybody, we're all gonna get laid.
Wow.
Animal House?
Oh, close.
Close.
Yeah, genre.
Yeah, Caddyshack.
Caddyshack right there. Oh, Teresa, 6 for 10. 5 for 10.
So much for International Women's Day.
Man.
Wow. Just teasing.
But 5 for 10 gets you a runner-up prize. Jack Russell's Great White and Lynch Mob tomorrow at Medina. Bobby Hollywood, 9 for 10. Very impressive with Alexa Theater. You, sir, will see Peter Frampton Monday, April 1st at the State Theater. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
You got it, man. Great playing.
He's going to be a hero in class today.
Yeah, that's really cool. Do like that one.
Bragging rights at the beer stube.
You damn straight it is. Check this quick little tale out from Argentina. Guy goes to the hospital. He needs to have his gallbladder removed. I think I mentioned this the other day on the show. I went to see a doctor. I had a weird pain in my side. He said, "Oh, your gallbladder's got some sludge in it."
Yes.
He said, just watch the diet for a while. It'll work itself out. And if not, we can remove your gallbladder. And I didn't want my gallbladder removed. It just sounded like something you do in the 60s. I'll have a Territon and a gallbladder surgery, please. I don't know. It's just something about it felt.
I don't even know what it does.
It doesn't do anything. It just gets in the way. It's kind of like your appendix. You can be you're fine without it. As far as I know, I could be wrong. Someone at the Mayo Clinic right now is going, "Oh my God, the gallbladder is so important, Steve." But in Argentina, a guy went to have his gallbladder removed. And by the way, these kind of things do happen on occasion. Woke up from his procedure, and the doctor said everything went great. You're fine. We'll just do a test here in a week to make sure there's no active sperm in your semen, and you'll be good to go. Because they gave him a vasectomy instead. By
no.
Let me tell you. You know where the gallbladder? You know where the gallbladder is? Nowhere near the scrotum.
It wasn't a 2-for-1 or something.
All right, I know what that does down below for the vasectomy. Holy, is he married or have a couple of kids in the bank?
No. He's very upset. He said he and his girlfriend were planning to have a child. Now, I don't know how they do it in Argentina, but most vasectomies are reversible, especially shortly after. Like, the sooner you do it, I think the better. The mix-up occurred because this guy went in for his procedure on a Wednesday, okay? Now, it was originally scheduled for Tuesday, and then he was told you got to delay it a day. Vasectomies are performed at the hospital on Tuesdays. Gallbladder surgeries are done on Wednesdays, which is why the staff assumed he was there for the latter.
It's Gallbladder Wednesday.
Man, let me tell you, when your hospital has days of the week assigned to procedures, go to a different hospital.
Little whiteboard.
They have a chart or anything there? Anyone? Yeah, double checking. I was hanging out with a doctor sometime in the last year, and it was just happened to be on the same vacation. We were chit-chatting, and I mentioned something about a story where they removed the guy's wrong leg. They put the X on the wrong leg. They had to amputate diabetes thing, and they ended up amputating the wrong leg. And he goes, "Well, it happens." What? No, that's unacceptable. We screw things up all the time here on the morning show. We're not doctors removing things.
Yeah, I had a torn bicep tendon, my right arm, in the summer of 2020, and I had to have surgery. And I was in there that morning, and I'm standing there, and I'm sitting in the hospital bed. Doctor comes in, the nurses, they're checking me in. And at some point, one of the guys comes over and he goes, now we're going to repair the torn bicep tendon, right? I go, yeah, because that's your right arm, right? I said, it's my right arm, this one that I can't move. He goes, okay. And he grabs my forearm. He goes, this is the arm we're operating on, right? And I go, yes. And he draws a giant X on it with a Sharpie. And I go, really? He goes, yeah. Really? You don't want this mistake? You don't want us to mistake? I'm like,
no,
man. And this is like, this is not like some backwater hospital. I'm like, wow, it's really that simple. And then just a few days ago, I mentioned I had a procedure done on my eyes, and I had both eyes worked on, and they had like a sticky thing. Oh, and they put one on over each eye, because like we're doing both eyes, so we're going to put one over your left eye and over your right eye just to make sure. I mean, I'm all for it. I mean redundancies, and do everything you can to make sure no one gets on the wrong body part in surgery. But it is kind of funny. I do think. I mean, I remember very clearly, like the guy pulls out the Sharpie and he just draws an X on my elbow, and I'm like, wow, it's just that simple sometimes. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes keep it simple, stupid, sometimes the old ways. But yeah, I like people double checking, and that sort of thing. I remember, going in for knee surgery and they put the X on the knee, and I was like, what you doing? Just want to make sure we get the right knee. But I suppose they just would have opened up the other knee and went, well, this one's not too bad for now. But yeah, wow. So you get the vasectomy and stuff. Now he's got to go back in for the frickin' gallbladder on a following Wednesday, I guess.
Yeah, really. Think about that. It's like you still have to go get your gallbladder.
I mean, how nervous would you be going back in? Now, it is gallbladder Wednesday, right? This isn't colonoscopy Thursday, right? Or something like that.
I'm sorry. We actually removed your bladder. You can no longer urinate.
Yeah, right. Here's a bag. A colostomy bag.
I know a doctor in Nashville, a guy who works at at a walk-in clinic. He is well, he's two things. He's a doctor. He's a jazz saxophonist. He plays at a jazz club in town all the time. Pretty cool guy. We had a mutual friend, and I hung out with him a couple times. I saw him play. He's a really good musician. And one time in conversation, he said that he does an awful lot of vasectomies, including his own.
Oh, no.
He did his own?
He did his own vasectomy.
Really?
Yes.
I wouldn't, everything's upside down,
Yes,
know?
it
It's
was.
like trying to do something backwards. I couldn't know.
He gave me some real specific information I did not ask for. It was an odd conversation.
I tried to cut my bangs one time when I was much younger. I'm like, I'm not going in. I don't have $10 for a haircut or whatever it was at the time. And just in the mirror doing that, I was like, oh, yep, nope, that's all you got.
It's hard enough to floss.
There was one nurse on hand and a couple of mirrors.
Oh,
literally.
Okay. Good on you.
I was like, wow, really? He goes, yeah, I've done so many of them. I thought, well, let me just see if I can do this.
I got this.
Like, let me just see if you can do this. and what if you can't? What if you screw that one up?
No, guy Leon in St. Paul that tattoos himself, but that pales in comparison.
It certainly does. I need to share a little information with all of us, and that is the men's basketball tournament, and your chance to win $1 million is coming back. You can register for our $1 million bracket challenge at 92kqrs.com. Make a perfect pick. That is a $1 million bracket. Sponsored locally by Xfinity 10G, the network made for streaming. Contest rules at 92kqrs.com. My brother-in-law, Paul Tyson, is a lifelong State Department guy. He's retired, but he did like 35, 40 years with the U.S. State Department, and he used to live in Europe. My sister and my brother-in-law lived there, and I would be on tour, and I'd see them in London, and I used to always say, Paul, man, come on. I mean, you're with the State Department. The way I see it, it's all kind of connected. Is there anything I can do? Like, I'm on the road. I have a perfect cover. I'm in this rock band. I could totally do some spycraft. I mean, there's something I could get into. I could act drunk or I could be drunk, but I could take a picture of the wrong guy doing the right thing. I mean, something. Come on. Put me to work for my government. I used to say this to him every time, and he would laugh, and he'd go, no, that wouldn't work. It is a great cover, but you're not the right guy. I mean, what do you mean? I could totally do this. And he'd be like, he goes, you have no idea how there's a whole different level of crazy to be a proper spy. And I say that because, yes, I thought I had the perfect cover, but, by the way, we're going to talk to an honest-to-God spy I mean, seriously, can you guys believe this woman's story?
I mean, yeah, I've just been going through her bio, and it is mind-boggling. Former CIA chief of disguise.
Chief of disguise.
Holy hell, I didn't even know that. But of course it's a thing in the CIA. Jana Mendez, author, In True Face, A Woman's Life in the CIA Unmasked. Can't wait to talk to her here. Well, about 8 o'clock. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. The KQ Morning Show is back. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday, March 8th. My son is 23 years old. He's in college in Indiana, and he just landed in Minneapolis a few minutes ago. He's up for spring break for a week. We're very excited to have him in town this morning early. He's texting me because he had a crack-a-dawn flight himself. He sends me a photo of a suitcase, and he goes, "Hey, is this too big to carry on, or do you think I should check this?" And I said, well, what size suitcase is that? I mean, put it next to something so I can see the scale. And then he put it next to like a chair that looked like it was just like a chair, and like he's crashing on a guy's floor in Indianapolis near the airport. And he took another picture, and it was next to what looked like a child's chair from IKEA, but I couldn't tell. And I'm like, dude, like put your shoe next to it. Help me out here. This is us at 5 a.m. going back and forth. And then I go, wait a minute, why aren't you at the airport yet? Because this flight was in an hour. And he goes, it's Indianapolis. I go, I know, it's kind of a big airport. He goes, no, that's never aligned. I'm like, it's spring break week, man. It's spring break. The place is going to be packed. He's like, chill, it's fine. And then a few minutes later, he goes, all right, I'm getting a little nervous. My Uber's late. I mean, so he has a 7 a.m. flight, which is 6 Central. And it's after, I mean, he's less than an hour from takeoff time when he goes, it's like 10 after, and he goes, okay, car's here, I should be fine. I said, how far is it to the airport? 15 minutes, give or take. I'm like, yo, dude, Mr. Xanax, would you get a little more pep in your step? He's so chill about it. And, you know, I've raised this kid to never, ever miss a flight. He gets to the airport. I get a text through security, bag check, told you. I'm like,
slam.
He goes, it was the longest line I've ever seen here, all of 4 minutes.
Wow.
Like, what's going on in Indiana? No one's flying down there? What the hell?
I guess not, man. There are some airports that are just like that, you know. That's not a bad spring break airport, I guess. But, yeah, there's just some like that. I'm trying to think of one I did. Oh, San Antonio. But that's not that big. Probably about the same. It's probably bigger than, I don't know how it compares to Indianapolis, but I thought the same thing. It was like, oh, you got to get there. No, it's a Friday in San Antonio. The locals were telling me, make sure you're there 2 hours early. 6 minutes. 6 minutes from the time I walked in the airport, the doors, through the sliding doors, until I was through security, looked down at my watch. It had been 6 minutes, but I had a nice place to grab a good breakfast and a bloody.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you know, as long as you got an extra minute or two. The Nashville, Tennessee airport, I lived in Nashville for 20 years. It's just worse and worse and worse and worse. Yeah. It's a fine airport, but it's not nearly like Minneapolis, St. Paul has twice the flights Nashville does, but it never feels that crowded to me. Nashville always feels crowded. It's small. It's expanded now, but they're also doing huge construction all over. They're adding a hotel to a terminal. Yeah. They're doing the roads. The entry's different. The egress is different. And I've been signed up for years. I get texts from an airport account, just FYI. And I got one the other day, and it just said, heading to the airport Friday, we recommend getting here 2.5 hours before your flight. And I'm like, no, man, I don't miss that on any level.
Like, you get me there. Right. Plus, you get me there too early, and there could be shenanigans, because every time I'm at the airport, I'm your son on spring break again. I'm traveling.
Yeah.
So, I think I hear some guests. A guest.
I do believe we're being joined right now. As we mentioned a minute ago, Jana Mendez is the author of a book called In True Face, A Woman's Life in the CIA Unmasked, and she's now with us on the KQ Morning Show. Jana, good morning.
Well, good morning. Nice to be here.
It is great to talk to you. We've already been talking you up this morning because, and I say this fully with respect, but you apparently lived the life that we all grew up thinking would be the coolest possible thing on earth. As a CIA officer in Europe, but you didn't start necessarily with that as your plan, I guess.
No, I did not. I started as a secretary, as most women did at the CIA at the time. They hired us to type.
Right. Okay. Well,
that was the entry level.
Right. From typing to the chief of disguise, that's quite an arc. How soon after you started working for the CIA did you start to feel like, wait, I can do a lot more here? There's something here for me.
Well, oddly, what moved me along was I told the man I was working for, the director of my office, I suggested to him that I might consider going to the Smithsonian, where I thought they'd have something really interesting for me to do, and that I might be leaving CIA. And he said, well, now hold on just a minute. We can train you. You like photography. What if we put you in some of our photography class? And that was the beginning of moving out of the secretarial field and into a professional piece of work.
And then, so with that photography beginning, you moved into a place where you were literally on the front lines. You were involved in cases. And then again, ultimately, you had a title, Chief of Disguise. We see movies about people who have amazing disguises and walk into a room and no one knows who they are. And obviously, we wonder just how realistic that is. I guess it's entirely realistic because you, for years and years and years, helped agents go completely unnoticed in very busy places with very dangerous people.
I did indeed. The office that I worked with was called OTS, and it was the equivalent of what we see as Q in the James Bond movies. We were providing all kinds of technical support to our case officers, not just photo support, not just disguises, but audio bugs, secret writing, microdots, whatever they needed, we could do for them. The disguise piece of it was particularly interesting, and I finished my career as chief of disguise. On my way out the door, almost, I ended up wearing one of the most elaborate disguises we ever made to the White House and briefing the President of the United States wearing a mask.
Really?
He didn't know I was wearing.
What can you tell us about that mask? How different did it? I'm thinking Mission Impossible, of course, and they pull it out and they look like someone else. But what kind of mask are we talking about?
When you see Mission Impossible and the impossible masks, it's all CGI.
Yes.
What we were doing was an actual physical mask with hair goods attached. I went from, I'm normally blonde, short hair, blue eyes. The President met a woman with darker skin, curly hair, brown eyes. I was a Latina, and I was actually rather cute. I liked that mask a lot. I wanted to keep it, but I had to turn it in when I left.
Oh, my God. We're talking with John Mendez on the KQ Morning Show. Her book is now out. It's called In True Face, A Woman's Life in the CIA Unmasked. So I'm assuming the president had absolutely no idea who he was actually talking to.
He did not. And when I took it off, this is President George H.W. Bush.
Okay.
He was effusive in his reaction to it. A man named John Sununu next to me, who was making notes, almost fell off his chair. He wasn't paying close attention, and what he saw was me removing my face. It stopped him cold. Yeah, there's a great picture of that in the book.
I mean, literally, like I said, this is the kind of stuff we all grew up playing, spies and CIA. And, and when I was a kid, I would read my older brother's or my dad's Tom Clancy novels and stuff, and I'd think about getting behind the Berlin Wall and going up against the Stasi. But you were actually doing this. You actually helped steal a secret encryption machine from the Soviet embassy. Which embassy was that?
Holy cow.
Where was that in America or was that in Europe?
Oh no, it was in the subcontinent.
Oh my God!
It was and I can't get closer than that. But it was a very interesting place, and going in and it was called a smoking bolt operation, and that's what we called it inside. That means that's what you left after you'd been there, just smoking bolts on the floor where the thing had been locked down.
Oh wow. Did you at any time in your career think, all right, this is it. I'm facing the end here. They're closing in on me. I'm not going to get out of here. Was there any I'm on your website, themasterofdisguise.com, Jonna Mendez. And, it reads like a Hollywood tale. In fact, we'll get to a Hollywood part of it here in a bit. But, yeah, any time in your life where you went, okay, it's time to make my peace?
There were a couple of moments when I actually thought that I might not get out of there alive. The first concern, oddly, I think, is I'd realize that it was a dire situation, and I'd think, okay, am I here in true name? Because my concern was, what if I do get shot? Mm-hmm. But what if all of the paperwork supporting me here is not my true name? I mean, will my family know? What will my insurance people say? Am I dead?
Right.
If they shoot me in a fake name?
It's very practical.
It got complicated.
The danger.
When the CIA started working against terrorists and narcotics targets, all of a sudden we were facing not foreign diplomats. We were facing criminals who were armed and wished us no will. And it got a lot more dangerous with those two categories of work, with drugs, with terrorism. It was scary. It's very scary.
The danger and the fear aspect of it, is that part of the allure? Is that what drew you to it?
No. What drew me to it was an opportunity to do something that I thought mattered, to help make a difference, to an opportunity to bring home the kind of intelligence that allows our president, our Secretary of State to make informed decisions. To be part of that, that was what was important to me.
Wow.
Spend my life doing something that I thought mattered.
Well, you certainly did that. Jonna Mendez, author of In True Face, A Woman's Life in the CIA Unmasked, is with us. Boy, Jonna, we're all looking at each other. We're just sort of in shock. This is truly, like Zepp said, this is the stuff of a Hollywood movie, but this was actually your life for decades. Do you miss it? I know you weren't drawn for the thrill-seeking aspect necessarily, or the adrenaline, but that said, you had years of your life living on the edge. Do you feel like you're kind of out of the game now? I almost feel like I'm talking to an athlete who's retired and can't watch the ball game because he misses it.
I was married to Tony Mendez, and he was the hero of the Argo story.
Yes,
the movie that Ben Affleck made, the one that won the Oscar for Best Picture in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Both of us, when we left, we thought that was it. We were done. We had participated and made our mark, but it didn't end. They opened an International Spy Museum in Washington, D.C., and we've been on the board since 3 years before they opened the doors. We started teaching intelligence courses. We started speaking very widely after the Argo movie was out there. We've written altogether 5 books. We left the official employment of the CIA, but we didn't leave the espionage field, I guess.
Wow. Well, Jonna, I've been to the Spy Museum in Washington, and it was heartbreaking to discover early on that I am not spy material. I really felt I thought I was going to go in there and ace it and come out of there with a job offer, and I just made myself look like an idiot in every room I walked into. So, well done on that museum. I did tour a lot. I was in a rock band for years, and I used to tour around the world, and I always thought that was the perfect cover, and I couldn't get anybody to take a look at me seriously. I was like, I've got the perfect cover. I'm playing shows. People know who I am. But still, I went to the Spy Museum and realized it was all folly. I just don't have that personality type.
I don't think we consider a rock and roll band as cover for an operative, but I might put that in the slot next time somebody asks.
I knew it would have made sense.
Yes, next time.
I always knew I had the perfect cover. Where were you when I needed you, Jonna? Well, you were actually doing your job and helping keep America safe, so you didn't need a knucklehead like me bugging you. I guess that's how that is. So, boy, Jonna, and you mentioned your husband Tony was the that movie Argo. I'm certain, just knowing what I know about movies, there were some not exactly down the line, but I have to think a lot of that was true, and just that it's that is one of those moments everybody who was around in the late 70s remembers every bit of the hostage crisis. That's the kind of stakes we're talking about. You and your husband for years putting yourself in these situations, all trying to get a better result. I guess I just want to say thanks, because that's a hell of a way to spend your life. And I know that an awful lot of good things happen because of your efforts.
Well, we were proud to be part of it. We were. I still am.
Well, that's
not finished yet. Who knows?
Sure. That's awesome. The book is available everywhere. We wish you all the best with the book. And I don't think it's too late to offer our condolences on your loss. Tony was obviously a great American, as are you. And we, as I said, we wish you the best with the book, and thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for the condolences. Thank you for the conversation. You guys are really fun to talk to. Great.
All the best, Jonna.
Okay. Take care.
Okay. I'm literally have goosebumps. I mean,
I found
the woman she's breaking into a Soviet embassy and stealing an encryption machine.
I mean, it's just, again, on her website, themasterofdisguise.com. I'm just reading the front page here, and it reads like, one Hollywood movie after another. In fact, it did turn into one Hollywood movie with Argo.
Yeah.
Her husband, late husband Tony, and her wrote several books, Spy Dust being another one of them. I'm very judicious about the books I read because I don't read books nearly as much as I used to. Too much nonsense to get ready for here on the on the KQ Morning Show. But, right, there's a blast from the past. But this book, I think I've got to get into it, right? It's gripping.
Yeah, absolutely. We went to the National Spy Museum in D.C. a few years ago. I mean, I wasn't kidding, and it's awesome. I mean, it's the kind of thing you can spend. Yeah. You can spend an hour and have fun, or you can spend 8 hours and just dig into every exhibit. But there's tests you take. Like you go into a room, you get a bunch of information, and then you have encryption machines, and it's really how quickly can you remember a few things and keep them in order and pass it along, and you're looking for all the old spycraft stuff. It's awesome if you're ever in D.C. It's totally worth a day.
No doubt. She was assigned at one point to, I've never heard of this, denied area of operations. Well, you're in your CIA agent and you're being assigned to the denied area of operations. That was the most difficult and hostile operating areas in the world. That's where she went. That's what she did for a living.
That's unbelievable.
You know, we're going to talk about the record for the most people with underwear on their head could fall next week. I feel like I have underwear on my head right now.
How hard I worked to set that record? Someone's going to take it from me? Damn it.
It could fall. We're going to get into that. We've got some other things to get into here. Don't forget our Acme headliner, Shane Torres, is going to join us at 9:30. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS. The KQ Morning Show is back. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Friday, March the 8th. It's International Women's Day. On the KQ Facebook page, we posted, women, give men advice in 3 words. We saw that somewhere, and we thought, let's give it a try. And I'm just going to point one out. Christina, her 3-word advice, laundry doesn't bite. and for the record, Christina, I love doing laundry.
I know guys that like it.
I'll do laundry all damn day long. It beats raking leaves. It beats cleaning out the gutters. Of all the things that keep a house humming, I'm happy with laundry because you can have a TV show, you have a ball game on while you do it. You can listen to a pot. You can do it. You got music playing. You got all kinds of. It's great, and then it makes you sound like a great guy.
I love the folding. I find it really soothing.
Yeah. I like to watch just the dryer just go round and round and round and just stare at it.
You ever crawl in?
Never crawled in. Maybe it'd be an industrial size. I have to go to a laundromat actually get that 5 load
I like
size.
it too, but this is what I do. Is I'll do the laundry. I'll be all amped up about it. Just wait for the right time, do it all,
amped up, okay.
and then
I mean, I'm listening to you guys. We are talking about laundry, right? Not happy hour. Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah.
But then the folding. God, I do this all the time. I will double dry my laundry because it'll get wrinkly in the the dryer because I wait too long. I just hate folding laundry.
Don't be a
I don't
hater.
fold mine. I don't do it. That's why I get my own room. Because I just don't. I take the shirts, I lay them out. The t-shirts go over the back of a chair. I don't ball things up. I can get a little wrinkly. And then the flannels, they get laid out flat on the floor in a pile. Pants just laid out by the bed right there. They're handy, ready to jump into. And then socks and underwear just in a big jumbled pile. But hey, yeah, for a good time. Little laundry party. Don't
you don't
invite
know what
me.
you're missing, man.
Yeah, I guess not.
No, a big basket of laundry and dumping it all onto a freshly made bed and then making my stacks and piles. I'm like, it's
You're
like
a madman.
That's my Zen garden. You know
Put
what I mean?
some show tunes on.
Yeah, man.
Sure.
Little Rodgers and Hammers. All like, there's no business like laundry business like
So you
laundry.
do Rosemary's laundry?
Oh, hell yeah. I do everybody's laundry.
You don't ruin it?
No. Oh,
You
God,
haven't
no.
screwed up a blouse in your life?
I have. No, I have. I've made mistakes. I've put something in the dryer I shouldn't have, and it slipped through the system because occasionally I get distracted. But I am my laundry batting average. I'm like well over 900 for getting things in, out, clean, folded, properly distributed. Oh, it's great. In fact, I used to. And I also pack for everybody. I'm the Tetris player of the family, so packing a suitcase and then packing the luggage into the car, that's all me. And I'm still constantly amazed. Our son he's a big kid. He's about 6 feet tall, so that I don't do this with him anymore. But for Rosemary and our daughter, the amount of their clothes I can put into a suit. I mean, they can live for 6 years in one suitcase. Like one pair of jeans and a sweatshirt for me is like half a suitcase.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, I can't believe how many things they can wear that can fit in one mid-sized suitcase. It blows my mind. I'm
Dainty
just like,
things,
man,
yeah.
it's incredible how tiny people can be and how many clothes you can stuff into a bag. It's crazy.
Right. You got to roll them, man. Don't fold them. Roll them. That's the military way,
Man.
and it's much more efficient. Get a lot more stuff in there.
The rolling is yeah, you're right. That's a great tip. I got onto that one a little later. I'm embarrassed to admit how long it took me to embrace the rolling of the clothes for packing.
I would have never figured it out if somebody didn't scream it in my face that I had rolled my socks wrong and threw them out halfway across the lawn. And that was just my mom. I like Rebecca's here. Hold my beer. That's my. I like that kind of powering. I know something about Robin, although I've never met her, I don't think. Her 3 words of advice to men, eyes up here. I don't even have to click on your Facebook profile. I think I know something about you. Eyes up here. She has the most beautiful eyes.
If my wife has not weighed in, but if she did, I have a feeling her 3 words would be this. No, really. Shh. Just shut up.
I did ask Maria, and she said, just stop. I said, that's 2 words. She said, but my hand's up. That's the 3rd word. Just stop.
That's great.
I get that one a lot. I like Carla's here. Never point and laugh. I know that's technically 4 words, but since we put in the eyes up here, never point and laugh.
Sure.
3 words of advice. That's to women, I think. Ask for directions, said Caroline. But then in parentheses, we're gonna give her this in the bedroom or wherever. Ask for directions. So which direction here? Yeah, you should smile, keep it real. We're not. Oh, that's some dude had to jump in here, guys. You got to jump in. They want to be left out. Anyway, outstanding. I like it. Some good advice on there. Thank you, ladies. I know 3 words. That's when you think about advice you want to give to men. I'm just saying.
It's easy.
Well, I was just going to say that's.
Listen to me. Oh, that's 3. Wait, that's 4. Listen to. No, it's 3.
That's 3.
Listen to me. Make me dinner.
Listen to me. Make me dinner. Pour me scotch. Candace is all set. She's good to go. I mentioned earlier my son flew into Minneapolis this morning. He's here. He's already landed. He's got his bag back. He's on his way. It's all good. He had no problems because he did not try to smuggle 87 animals in his luggage like a guy in Bangkok, Thailand. Or I should say 6 men arrested. They had a menagerie, if you will, of live exotic animals, including an endangered red panda.
Those are
I'm not talking about like tadpoles. Dude had a red panda in his suitcase. 6 men from India checked their luggage, boarded a flight to Mumbai from Bangkok, Security, go figure, checked their luggage, discovered 29 monitor lizards. Those are not playthings. A monitor lizard can hurt you. 21 snakes, 15 birds, the panda, and a few others. What? How do you think you're going to get animals in a suitcase through 2 international airports?
Right, just build your own ark.
Yeah. Thank you. Man, get into a bathtub and try to row yourself. I mean, for God's sakes. It's the best story we've had all day. A guy in southwest England. I wasn't planning to mention it again.
Oh, let's play it.
A dude in southwest England. Now, the southwest of England is a rural area for the most part. A lot of farmland, a lot of very small towns, villages, you might say. And every little village has at least one kook. This one's pretty special. The British Coast Guard had to save him from himself many times because, well, he was trying to row himself all the way up to Scotland. Did he have a rowboat? No. Let's take a listen.
They had a guy in the harbour where they worked who was being rescued once a week, constantly rescued, because he was going... It was the southwest of England. He had a bathtub, and he was going out in the bathtub with his dog with the intention of going to Scotland. And he would get just to about a mile, half a mile, and then start sinking every single time. And they said, bless them, in the end, the only way we could save that guy's life was to break up his bathtub. So in the middle of the night, they just smashed it up, and that was the end of that.
I like it that they have to sneak in when he was sleeping.
I love it. I love the guy. I love the idea of Coast Guard men going in with like sledgehammers and just cracking this guy's bathtub into 100 pieces. And, you know, he's just like, but his dog, I'm going to assume his dog is named Rags. But I told Rags all about the Highlands. He was excited. He loves bagpipes.
I know.
Rags wants to see Scotland.
I bet Rags didn't. I wonder if the word is out now around the town. It's like, don't sell him another bathtub. He's coming around looking for bathtubs. Do not give him another bathtub. And thank God it was a bathtub. If he'd actually gotten into a rowboat, he might have made it out of sight, but he wouldn't have made it to Scotland in a rowboat in the North Atlantic, I don't think.
If Jerry comes by looking for a tub, tell him you're on back order. Don't let Jerry have another bathtub. We don't need him to go missing out in the sea, do we? Speaking of missing at sea, okay, so we got people trying to smuggle animals all over the world. We got Jerry and Rags trying to make themselves get a bathtub rowboat situation from the southwest of England all the way up to Scotland. Now let's just top it off with what I think is the most insane thing I've heard in a while. Colossal Biosciences. That's the name of a biotechnology company based in Dallas.
I think ominous about that.
Yeah, no. What could they possibly be doing that's scary? Let's call it Colossal Biosciences.
Dun, dun, dun.
Their aim is to bring extinct animals back from the dead.
All right.
And now, what are they working on? They say they're closer than ever to bringing back an elephant-sized woolly mammoth.
I mean, how initially the little boy in me goes, cool, man. All those little plastic dinosaurs I played with, Jurassic Park, here we go.
Yep.
It's just like these goofballs with AI. They grew up with their nose in a book, and they weren't wasting their lives on the couch watching movies like we were. We know how this ends. We saw Jurassic Park 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's not good. Why do we need a woolly mammoth?
Woolly mammoths died out about 4,000 years ago. Some carcasses froze over in icy tundra. It preserved not only their bones, but flesh and fur. Paleontologists were able to collect DNA fragments. And so, in fact, they have discovered woolly mammoths. The meat was so well kept, one researcher has, in fact, tasted real, honest-to-God, 4,000-year-old woolly mammoth meat.
There's always one researcher, like that one buddy of yours. Hey, man, you want to try some of this? All right, I'll do it.
Yeah, every
you hate woolly mammoth?
Every organization has one gobbler. There's always a gobbler. There's the guy who, if the blue lights hit you, it's like, swallow all these pills. On it. There's always a gobbler in any social setting.
No, Candace, what did you say? You hate what?
Humans.
Yeah, we just make a mess.
Yeah, they're
of it,
not
don't we?
extinct yet.
By the way, this genetic situation, if they resurrect a woolly mammoth, they want to repopulate the Arctic tundra because these things lived in the Arctic tundra. They want to repopulate it just in time for it to melt, I suppose, and so then now they can kill them off again.
Yeah, they'll just hunt them down for their tusks.
Oh,
my God!
A woolly mammoth hunt. I'm in.
Okay, I imagine that means the saber-toothed tiger is next.
Oh, cool.
My childhood favorite animal.
Yeah. That's a damn good one.
Just see a tiger with a giant tooth and be like, "Ooh, it could be cooler than that, man."
Yeah, so what about the dodo? Let's bring the dodo back. What
Why
a fun
not?
bird that was, I think. I don't know.
All I know is the name, the dodo.
I don't know much about it either.
Dodo. There's the Australia had their own sort of tiger down there that's extinct. It's called some sort of, it was something tiger. What was it? Yeah, there's all kind of the Tasmanian tiger, I think is
Tasmanian
what it's called.
devil.
Yeah,
but they're not going to be
Tasmanian
the
devil
devil.
still exists. There was a Tasmanian tiger that is no longer with us, but I'm sure they can bring that. If you can get a woolly mammoth going, you could totally rock out a 120-pound Tasmanian tiger. I mean,
they're not going to
on.
be able to stop themselves. They're going to get the velociraptors going and the T-Rex and all that stuff, and then it's game over.
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, a woolly mammoth is not going to, they're not, these are not circus elephants.
All right.
I'm just saying, I don't think you're going to be like, take the woolly mammoth ride.
No. All right, so the end of the world is nigh. We've determined that this morning. Is going to be AI that gets us, or is a T-Rex just going to tear our head off?
Maybe it could be both. Maybe we could just it'd be quicker if we just get them all going
at
together.
the same time.
Yeah, why not?
Bring back the Neanderthal dude.
Maybe the mammoth is docile and cuddly. How do we know?
Well, who knows? Yeah, maybe. I mean, in that movie, what was it? The Disney movie or the Pixar movie? Woolly mammoths were pretty cool cats. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of Mr. Snuffleupagus, maybe.
Can you imagine if the woolly mammoth literally did turn out to be like, hey guys, like just the gentlest of all giants?
Yeah.
It'd be like there'd be children's books. My woolly mammoth, Mike. Can I take Mike to school, Mom? Sure, honey.
The elephant walk.
Bundle up, honey. Mike wants to come over. Jeez. I don't know.
Good luck to them. Yeah, I know. They're all they just can't wait. No, we're going to be the scientist that brings about the end of civilization. They just can't wait. They can't help themselves. Well, like I said.
By the way, as long as we're here, a dude in France, a guy named Damien Bichotto, who is a paleontology enthusiast, was out walking his dog, Muffin. I'm not making this up. Muffin, come here. We have to take a walk, Muffin. Muffin and he are walking around Montpellier, a town in the southern part of France, and he discovered a nearly fully intact dinosaur skeleton.
Cool.
I mean, how have we not found all of them yet? I mean, you're just bopping along, and you're like, hey, that looks like fossils. That looks like it's an entire dinosaur.
Damn.
Several 10-day excavations, they found dinosaurs that were almost completely intact. The Titanosaurus, 33 feet long, completely intact. Oh,
amazing.
That's got it right there in the name. Titanosaurus.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good name. Yeah, what's going to take them like 12 years to get that out? I went out on a dig when I was living in Montana for a while to Yellowstone. They have a museum there, the Museum of the Rockies, and got to know some folks there, interviewed one of them. They're like, hey, we're going out on a dig. We're pulling a rib bone of a brontosaurus or something out of the mud down there near Yellowstone. If you want to come down, I was like, yeah, that sounds really cool. It turns out it's 12 hours of watching people with little brushes brush dirt. It was excruciating. Thank God I got to walk around Yellowstone for a little bit, and it was a nice day. But that's the kind of work you've got to have some great patience, some good meditation. But they're also worth, they told me, a lot of money. We always think, they're just donated to the local zoo or whatever. No, they end up paying for those. In fact, some private people now, they've unearthed so many of them, are starting to buy some of these intact dinosaurs. And I think the Museum of the Rockies has so many Triceratop heads laying around. They're just like in a spare garage there. You go out to the garage and you're like, oh, I see you have like 30 triceratop heads, just skulls lying around. They're like, yeah, and people will buy them. Rich people do, like you put the big rock in the yard, you know?
Yeah, sure.
They put a big triceratops head in the yard.
Make a coffee table out of it.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Sure.
Cut a few drawers in there. I mean, like doors and stuff. It can hold stuff. Like, where's the tape measure? It's in the triceratops. No, left eye. Left eye. Come on. Hey, St. Louis is not that far away. It's a 8-hour drive. You just go down south, hit Iowa, then go southeast from there, and you get to St. Louis. It's in Missouri. They got a big arch. We all know what St. Louis is. If you want to be part of a world record, you might want to start heading that way next Thursday on March 14th. That is 314. Also, the area code for St. Louis, 314. And there's a museum there, and they're planning to break a world record. It's called City Museum. And next Thursday, you can be one of at least 314 people to stand around wearing underpants on your head.
Okay.
I'm with Candace.
Yeah.
I'm not making this
people.
up. Now, this museum already has the world's largest pair of underwear. They have got a pair of briefs about 7 feet wide, 6 feet tall when laid out. The waistband, it's size MCXLVII, which just means like, I don't know, 6,000. Roman numerals confuse me. But they've already got the world's largest pair of underwear. Now they want to set a record. They need at least 314 people to stand in the museum wearing underwear on their head. The current world record, a paltry 270.
Wow. Pa.
And by the way, that was set at a bookstore in Naperville, Illinois in 2012. What on God's green earth led a bunch of people in Naperville, Illinois to say, let's stand around with underwear on our heads? Son, you got a panty on your head.
Yeah, raising Arizona.
Man.
Right. You get to pick your own.
I guess. I don't know.
Not assigned a pair.
That was an old joke we used to have in radio. Inside joke would be like, all right, let's put our underwear on our head and get to work today, because it's so nonsensical and, our jobs in general. But these people literally just, what would you're making eye contact with other people. Hey, it's so Beavis and Butthead, isn't it? And you're getting a lot of people together to do this. By the way, I'm on the citymuseum.org website. I want to check out this museum. They have 3,000 pounds of praying mantis there. If you want to check that out, if you're wondering just how many pounds of praying mantis, it's 3,000 pounds of praying mantis. One science center.
I think a lot of this is ultimately what this turns into is answers to the question: how come St. Louis never really took off? That's just
and
me.
With that, I don't know if you guys heard about this or not. Crazy story. Kevin Bacon, everyone knows Kevin Bacon, showed up in Wisconsin, and not just hanging out, not just there for shooting a movie or something. Kevin Bacon was actually lost and wandering around Wisconsin, wandered up to a couple's house. They kind of took him in, befriended him. We have that story with audio coming up here at about 8:55. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, March the 8th. Whoo, baby. It's time for the weekend. I guess it already is the weekend, at least to us. We're almost out of here. Yes, indeedy. Let's talk about you referenced Kevin Bacon. I've always done Kevin Bacon. Oh, yeah. I'm not a huge fan of his music, but that's only because I've never really listened to it. Maybe I am. Maybe I would love Kevin Bacon's music. The Bacon Brothers, he and his brother.
That's right. Yeah,
kind of a folk rock duo, if memory serves. Maybe.
Yeah.
They came out and played a Rib Fest, a big thing that they used. I don't think they have it in downtown anymore, Minneapolis, but years and years ago, they came out and opened up for Pat Benatar.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, just came out and did a couple of songs or whatever. We're like, hey, is that Kevin? That's the Footloose dude.
What is it like? Loggins and Messina? What kind of vibe are they going for? England Man and John Ford Coley?
Yeah. I don't know. I remember they were doing cover tunes. I don't know if they have originals or not. I don't remember what they were doing, but they were getting everyone all fired up. It was around the 4th of July, so they were doing some patriotic stuff. I think they did Born in the USA or something like that.
Wow.
Nothing patriotic about that.
No,
but
not so much. Kevin Bacon, debut film Animal House. What a way to start.
That's right.
Yes.
All is well.
All is well. That's right.
Well,
I
again,
would hate to seem pushy.
Right, exactly. He talked about there's a documentary of the making of that movie that's nearly as fantastic as the movie.
It is.
And he talked about, I forget who the director, I always get the Ivan Reitman, or was it the other dude?
Yeah.
They directed the movie, but he separated
John
them
Landis.
because John Landis, thank you. He wanted that in the movie, so he had all the the Delta guys would all hang out together in one hotel, and in another hotel he had all the squares.
Yeah,
and all the
Delta
Razzi guys
and the Omega, whatever they were called.
Right.
They were all, they all were stayed separated. They all treated Kevin Bacon like crap. They were just because he was the young pledge.
Yeah.
I mean, all is well. I would say his second most famous line, because he is the "Thank you, sir. May I have another?"
That's right.
Yeah.
What an auspicious debut.
Right.
He's pretty good in Diner. You remember him in Diner?
Very good in Diner.
Fenwick.
Everybody's good in Diner.
I've always been impressed. I mean, he seems like he's one of those guys that's stayed out of the scandals and the weird things. He's been married to his great actress
Keira
wife, whose name,
Sedgwick.
thank you, for many, many years. I mean, he seems fairly squared away, and he gets the jokes about him and himself and the 6 degrees of separation. But yeah, so
I've always had the hots for him. I don't know why.
He's a charming fella. His car commercials with his daughter were really good. Running around the Super Bowl last year, he's great.
I've probably watched Tremors like 35 times, because when it's on, and you're just channel surfing on a rainy Saturday, I'm going to watch it every time. Tremors
is great. Anyone know the name of the other guy in Tremors? The older, not old, but older than Bacon. That guy,
Gus. Because of the right stuff, I always call him Gus. But and he just passed away here not too long ago.
I sat next to that guy on a flight once. From Atlanta to Los Angeles. I sat down, and that dude sat next to me, and I was like, "Hey, man." He's like, "Hey." And one of the few times in my life, we talked the whole flight, 4 hours. We were just about everything under the sun. What a cool dude. So
Fred
cool.
Ward.
Fred Ward.
I was going to say, so cool I can't remember his name, but man, what a nice guy he was.
Yeah, passed away in 2022.
Yep.
Not that old, I don't believe, but one of those character actors, he's in so many movies. He had a couple of lead roles, but and he was a cool guy, you said. You just rapped.
Oh, he's the best dude in the world. Just super, super cool. And I, like you, I went to see Tremors in the theater when it came out, because a friend goes, "Hey, there's a thing called Tremors. Don't look it up. Just trust me. Just go see it." I had no idea what I was walking into, and I was like, man, this is just a funny, funny, funny movie. The dad from Family Ties is a prepper, doomsday prepper.
Yes.
Right.
Reba McEntire's his wife.
Reba McEntire was great.
and they nail it. They do a great job with
Everything about that movie was great. So all this talk about Kevin Bacon, because apparently he was spotted in Kenosha, Wisconsin last week. And I can't imagine this is true, but also apparently weighs 450 pounds. What's going on here?
God, I haven't seen him in a while. Just let himself go, huh?
Apparently, yeah. So a guy named Jake Mulgard looked up. He's got security cameras, and he saw what apparently was Kevin Bacon in his driveway late at night one night. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You know what, guys? I'm sorry. I've got this wrong. He did see Kevin Bacon in his driveway, but Kevin Bacon is a 50-pound giant hog who was on the run. A mile from home.
This isn't the same Kevin Bacon. There was another pig story we did like a year ago, and he was on the run up in I don't know where the heck he was, back east or something like that. So, it's Kevin Bacon. It's a good name for a pig, but I was thinking a potbelly pig, but no, this is a fully grown, huge hog. By the way, here's Jake Mulgard over there in Kenosha talking about finding Kevin Bacon in their driveway.
I'm watching TV, and my wife comes in the room and says, "Jake, I think there's a pig on our driveway camera." And I'm like, "Are you serious? That's definitely my pig. He's a big black pig?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, his name is Kevin Bacon, and he's actually a little lonely, so he's probably just looking for company." They all wanted to adopt him immediately, and I said, "We don't have a place to put a 450-pound pig," but they fell in love with him right away.
Yeah, the kids.
They needed to get him home. He was a mile away from home. He's just wandering around. They lured him with Oreos and other treats. Mulgard said he ate an entire refrigerator worth of food and a whole bag of marshmallows. 1 mile, 2.5 hours later, Kevin Bacon made it back to his pen.
Yeah, I'm glad. Well, you can't be wandering around, especially Kenosha. I believe that's over there between Milwaukee and Chicago somewhere.
Yeah.
You can't be wandering around as a lost pig in Wisconsin. You're going to find yourself on the plate. You know, they're kind of crazy about their brats over there.
Oh, hell yeah, they are.
Yeah, so I'm glad he's safe.
I want to see, I want to see any animal eat a giant bag of marshmallows. I don't want to see that animal the next day.
No. Pig marshmallow farts, no way.
Oh, my God, that could be rough. Hey, it's Daylight Savings Weekend, by the way. Remember, you're going to wake up Sunday an hour later than you think it is. And there's a checklist of things. They say every daylight savings time, there's a few other things you should do, such as this: change the batteries in all your smoke alarms. Just a good, it's a good time to do it. You got to do it at least once a year, so you do it at the same time you change clocks, so you make a day of it.
That's not a bad idea. I think that's good because, if you wait till the battery runs out, it's always in the middle of the night, and you can never quite pinpoint what room it's in. Is it in this room, right? Do you have a hallway in that? No, I think it's in. Now, you go stand in that room, I'll stand in this room, and when you hear the beep, point to it. So, yeah, changing the batteries. I'm going to do it.
I don't think a smoke alarm has ever given the battery needs to be changed signal before 11:30 p.m.
Always middle of the night.
Also, another thing they suggest you do is restock your emergency kit. Whatever that is in your house, restock that bad boy. Make
the
sure
liquor cabinet.
Expired. Yeah. And it says if you don't have one, put one together. So, what is your emergency kit? My first thought is a bottle of hooch and some Neosporin,
some Doritos,
maybe a chip or two. Sure.
Yeah.
Clean out your fridge, pantry, and medicine cabinet.
Oh, jeez! Whoa!
Not because the clocks are moving, but just because it's an easy reminder to do it. Anything that's expired or that you're no longer using. We will still, like, anytime one of the kids is like, I got a cold, I need something, there's always like, there's some NyQuil or Benadryl or there's some Mucinex. There's a whole closet of that crap in our house. And I will go pull one out, and I mean, literally, it'll be like August 2014. I'm like, oh, yeah, we should probably throw that away. There is some medicine in our house that goes back forever. I'm like, come on, it's probably still good. My wife's like, what is wrong with you? Cleaning out the fridge. Yeah, we're pretty good about that. I got a sensitive nose. Did broccoli smell like that when we were kids?
That was the one we kind of dodged because Mom grew all the vegetables, and I guess broccoli just didn't grow well in the sand of South Dakota. I've talked enough about the lima beans, and we had the sweet corn, and the string beans, of course. But broccoli can get a little rank, especially when you steam that bad boy.
I just never knew. I've eaten broccoli my whole life. The first time I ever had broccoli, I was probably 9 or 10, and I remember thinking like, oh my God, I finally found a reason to live. I love broccoli.
I do too.
And I swear in the last 10 years, it's become the thing that stinks out the vegetable drawer. It stinks out the house when you steam it. There used to be just the only thing I used to associate a smell was the asparagus pea. That was a classic. You eat some asparagus and then suddenly you smell like a Goodyear plant that's on fire when you pee. But now broccoli, man, like we go to Costco, you get that big giant bag of broccoli, you put it in the fridge, and the next day it's like you got to leave the house. I don't know. I think they're doing something different.
They're monkeying with a lot of stuff.
Could
GMOs,
just be me.
Man.
Could just be me. Here's another thing they suggest doing, because you're supposed to do this about once a year. Flip your mattress.
You don't want the butt indentation, right? That's the deal? Or is it,
we have to. Well, I weigh twice as much as my wife. I mean, I'm twice her size. I'm a foot taller, 100 and something pounds heavier, and so we flip the mattress. Probably once a year. You just have to. It's just
I hear what you're saying. Flip the mattress with the wife this weekend. I got you.
You hear what I'm saying? By the way, fun fact: in the summer of 2020, we were doing that very thing. It was about midnight. This is 5 months into a full lockdown lockdown pandemic. We all remember the fun summer of 2020, don't we? This is July of 2020, and it's about midnight, and that seemed like a perfect time to let's flip the mattress. And so when we have a king-size bed, so we get the mattress off, no problem. She's on one side, I'm on the other, lift it, get it over the bed frame, and then there's the box spring, which is 2 twin box springs next to each other. Mm-hmm. Those box springs both weigh, 7 pounds. 10, a box spring mattress is nothing. I go to pick one up. I'm just like, let me grab that, like as if it's it's a bag of peanuts. I go to lift it, and my right bicep tendon just goes pop.
Oh, what?
That's how I tore my bicep tendon moving a box spring mattress that weighs nothing.
Yeah.
And I lifted, and my whole arm just went, you don't work anymore. And my arm was dead to me.
Weird.
Aging is the
just
best.
Like that. It was great.
You know, the best aging injuries are always fun because then you get to tell people how you hurt yourself. Did you right away start telling people, or I was shooting hoops, or I was, trying to, lift a car off an old lady that was in flames or something? No, I was reaching for the mattress, not the king size, the box spring. I hurt my shoulder one time just running my fingers through my hair too quickly. I just really shot my left arm up there to just run my fingers through my long luscious hair. Anyway, and then I pulled something, and for like 4 days I couldn't do anything with my left arm.
My ankles are just very weak as I age, and I was just walking last summer, and I twisted my ankle. Just walking.
Just walking.
Just walking around.
And it makes you angry. You're like, no. When I used to, take the dirt bike and try to, jump the old tractor or something like that, that's when you get hurt, not frickin' lifting a box spring.
And again, it was midnight, and it went like this. This is what it sounded like. It was just a pop.
Ouch.
And I went, and I pulled my arm up, like just to my, I fold my arm and I hold it with my left hand so it looks like it's already in a splint, sort of, in a sling.
Yeah.
And Rosemary goes, what was that? I go, that was my arm. And she's like, are you serious? And I go, yeah. She goes, what? Are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm serious. She goes, are you serious? I'm like, babe, I can't let go of my arm. And I sit down, and it's really kind of painful. And I'm like, what in the hell just happened? And so now she's like, well, I've got to get this giant king-size mattress back on the bed. And I'm like, well, good luck.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best with that, because I'm not touching a damn thing. I was terrified. What if I pop my other arm out of joint? It was awful.
It sounds awful. All right.
It was really, really, really not cool. And I thought, well, I'm just going to pop some Advil, and I remember thinking, like, man, I really hope this isn't like a tendon. I know enough to know that tendons are really bad and ligaments you can deal with.
Yeah, right.
And so I'm like, all right. And I convince myself it's not hurting too badly. Take some Advil. I'm drinking some water. Go to sleep that night. And I wake up in the morning and I'm like, yeah, this, I can't even, like, I couldn't hold my iPhone for more than 5 seconds and my arm would just give away. I mean, I'd put anything in my hand and it just had no strength. And I was like, yeah, we're going to have to go to the emergency clinic with this. And again, just flaming pandemic still. Right. Everybody's triple masked and walking around like it's zombies. It was awful.
Right. And then hospitals and clinics are busy enough, right? And they're short staffed. And here comes the guy in with the torn bicep from trying to flip the mattress. Well, Steve, this weekend, you're taller. We'll let you go ahead and get the batteries and the smoke detectors.
Okay, great.
You mentioned your son's coming in town for spring break. Why don't you let him and Rosemary flip the mattress this weekend?
That's probably a good idea. Thank you very much.
All right. Sounds good. Shane, looking forward here.
Torres.
Shane Torres. Torres, yeah. Is that right, Shane? He's headlining Acme Comedy Company, and he's joining us here shortly. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Friday, March the 8th. Tonight and tomorrow night, 7 o'clock and 9:30, both nights. Shane Torres is at Acme Comedy Club. Shane Torres is in the studio with us right now. Good morning, sir.
Hey, what's up, Steve? How are you, man?
How's Minnesota working for you?
It's going okay so far. It's a little nippier than I like.
You're a Texas man.
Yes, sir, I am. Yeah.
Fort Worth, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Do people in Fort Worth play football?
I played Madden. I didn't play football.
Okay.
I played Nintendo. I'm not.
All right.
I bruise too easy for some of it.
Well, you're not a small guy.
You think the guys are big here?
Yeah, no, I get you.
Down there, they're all like fridges with legs.
So the Friday Night Lights scene, that's real, isn't it? I mean, that's real as hell.
That's a very that's a very, very real thing. I never. It's so bizarre because I never romanticized it.
Sure.
When I lived there, you know, I was like, I can't wait to leave this stink town.
Yeah, right.
All that.
Yeah.
And now I go back and I'm like, there's something like kind of beautiful about this.
Kind of amazing.
Yeah. And I love the book. It's and the show is great. But then I was watching HBO or Max now.
Yeah, right.
That just made me sad because I'll never have an HBO special. I'll have a Max special now. But it was just called Friday Night Light Murder, and it was just a docuseries about all these murders that happen in Texas and football towns.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. I was like, this thing sucks. I was like, it's a good thing I left.
Well, I mean,
everybody would have thought I'd been the number one suspect.
If you're in a small town in Texas, Friday night in the fall would be a great time to get away with crime.
Right? Yeah, and that's exactly what happens.
Because in my mind, in the movie I'm going to make, every cop is the guy who's like, well, when I was playing, we'd never run a pussy play like that.
Yes.
You know, so they can't solve crimes. They're still talking about their glory days.
They'd be like, who's at home playing Nintendo?
Yeah, right.
Stringy hair chorus world. That's why all these cheerleaders are missing.
So it's somewhere along the line, teachers were talking, and they're like, yeah, I think Shane, maybe the creative arts, maybe not football for this guy.
I had multiple teachers in my life at high school just be like, we don't, I don't know, like, do you want to go to college? I'd be like, yeah, of course.
Sure.
They're like, well, you need to do something to do that.
Yeah,
like,
right,
come on.
right.
Just, so I think they could tell I wasn't a bad kid, but I was fairly aimless. And they were like, well, you could probably learn to fix air conditioners.
High school years were what for you? Like late 90s, something like that?
Well, if you must know.
Let's go, baby.
High school years were 96 to 2001.
Heady times.
Your boy spent an extra year in high school. That's what happens when you don't show up.
That does happen that way.
But I had a lot of time to write jokes, so if you want to come to the shows tonight, there'll be a lot of topical stuff like Kurt Cobain's death.
Yeah, right. We're still trying to make sense of that.
Yeah.
Shane Torres, 7 and 9:30 tonight and tomorrow night at Acme. I go to your website, and it says Shane Torres, determined to be alone.
Does it still say that?
Yeah. Well, not when you click on it, but that's what the link on the Google page says. Is there something do you want to talk? Are you okay? Do you need a hug?
I mean,
what's going on?
I'll say this. A lot of people who respond to my comedy are guys who look a lot like me.
Okay.
I mean, this is radio, but I think you can tell my
it's like
my general energy matches.
Clooney-esque, almost there's a little Brad Pitt in there.
Yeah, highly sexual.
Yeah,
sure. Just two, refills are free, ladies, so come on over. Determined to be alone. I did that as a joke because a lot of my early stuff was like very depressing. Not that much of it's changed. But my ex-girlfriend, who I'm still friends with, runs and builds my website.
Okay.
I gotta text her to change that. That's I forgot. I thought it was a funny thing to write.
It is a funny thing.
And now people are just like,
oh
yeah. Well, it was fine in his 20s.
The commitment,
but now it's getting a little it's getting grim.
The commitment is real, people.
Mm-hmm. This guy might actually start taking away cheerleaders.
Yeah,
we don't get him someone to hug.
So you've been in Twin Cities before. You said you were in Acme a few years ago for the first time.
Yeah, I think I think my first year was like 2018.
Yeah,
and then I was here pretty regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this town, man. I have a great time here.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's wonderful. The problem right now is I've been sober. I'll be 4 weeks sober on Sunday. Not like
4 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that's not like sober. That's not like.
Well, I mean, it's just fresh, man.
It's good.
Yeah. But in this town, like I always I like to go drinking, and I like a lot of the bars.
Oh no! When you land at the airport, they give you a drinking hat. It's just like you're gonna have to wear this.
This scarf will be good for my headache.
That's exactly right.
But now I'm like, I went, instead of like going out to a bar, I just went grocery shopping with my friend. I was like, this is a nice time. I was disgusted with myself. I was like, they got the yogurt I like. I am livid about what thrills me at this point. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to fall off the wagon soon.
Okay.
And I'm going to land hard.
So is this a long time I got to do this, or is it you woke up one day and said, I think I'll just go a few days and see how I feel? Because I've done that for sure.
Yeah, that's what I started as. But I'll say that if I was drinking right now, this radio appearance would have been 50-50.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Sure.
And I would have wanted to make it.
Yep.
But I would have wanted other things more.
Well, intent is 9/10 of the law or something. I don't know.
Well, most of my intent's in the bottom of a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, I got you. Well, 4 weeks. Well, then that's a strong start, man. That's a good accomplishment.
Yeah, it's getting there. I think I'm gonna try and make it through Lent.
And I think that a lot of people. Well, no, literally, it's not so much that you are like, maybe, I don't mean to speak for you, but my experience and with a lot of people, it's not like you're craving a drink. You just can't believe how much time there is in a day. It's
kind of true. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not like you're physically, oh my God, I need this. You're just like, wait a minute. It's 20 after? Like, wow, I still have 40 minutes till the next hour begins.
Yeah. Life just feels kind of long without alcohol.
Yeah.
But to your point, like, I got back to my hotel, and I went and had a burger last night, and I got back to my hotel at like 11:30, and I was watching YouTube, and I was like, well, you could just be working. And then I worked for like 3 hours.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And then I was like I felt good, and like, here's the thing. I think I like being drunk more than I like knowing I'm doing the things I'm supposed to be doing.
Okay, it's a line.
And knowing that my life is going in the right direction because of my hard work.
Sure.
A fun drink is just so much better than like returning an email. I couldn't possibly do both. I was like thinking about that. Like, I had a sober-ish Christmas. I only had like 2 drinks.
Yeah.
And the next day I felt great.
Yeah.
And I was like, if they're all going to be like this, I don't want to do it anymore.
Well, sometimes feeling great is hard to accept.
Yeah, I know.
What is how about the creative process, if you will? So like you said, suddenly you sit down and you're going, you can write and write and write. I always draw comparisons. Every comedian I know, every musician I know, there's a lot of common just viewpoints. I think the brains are very similar. I think a lot of very funny people also picked up an instrument when they were a teenager and vice versa. And so I'm curious, has it been long enough where are you recognizing a difference in the things you're writing or the concepts you're thinking about developing for your stand-up?
Yes. Well, I think my wiring is set to some degree, but what I am noticing is how I need to change things I've done before. Like, when a band puts out a great debut album, everybody falls in love with it, and then they kind of on the second one they start hacking themselves, and they're kind of doing the same thing, but not as well.
Familiar with the concept?
Yeah. You said that like it struck a chord. No,
pot, meat, kettle.
Yeah, but I am noticing that I do that while not doing it. You know, like I'm not doing the exact same thing, but like, oh, this is a joke like that joke.
Oh,
like,
gotcha, sure.
And so I'm like, and I think it's going to lead to a lot of growth. In a way of like, it won't, like, I'm excited for this new stuff because it's changing its shape. It's
sure, I get
it's
that.
Still my tone, and like I still play it the same way, but it's like it's changing its shape. It looks a lot different.
Well, it's my experience is that it can get real. Being uncomfortable can get comfortable. Being, forcing discomfort on, and then the real discomfort comes, like you said, when I feel pretty good. And that's a whole new level of, wait a minute, this is not familiar, therefore I'm not confusing it for comfort. And what the hell does this mean? But that, like, I agree. That's when you feel the weirdest is usually when the coolest stuff's going to pop.
For sure. Like, I feel that way. Like, we just had the special come out in December. do you know Bert Kreischer is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
of course.
he produced it. Him and his wife, Leanne,
Nice.
produced my
Great.
special and put it out on their YouTube.
Whatever happened to him? I'm kidding.
He's probably doing this third night at the Target Center.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, he got into men's dress shirts.
The last thing we ever would have expected.
But they produced it, and we went, like, he was, him and Leanne, his wife, were very, very hands-on with it, and the production of the special, and, like, Leanne produced it, and, like...
Great.
But he knew the act. Like, we're like, and I was like he'd seen it because I opened for him, and we work on the road and stuff.
Right.
But I was like, man, I hope this, when it came out, I was like, I think we made a really cool thing. It looks great. And now I'm like, started this new hour, and I was like, this beats out like a joke from the special, like this new stuff I have. And I'm like, that cannot work. So I clipped it, and I'm like, you got to think of something else, man, because you're just doing this like structure.
Right.
You're working in these same 4 bars.
Sure, I got you.
Yeah, so now it's like it's an interesting show right now because I literally come out on stage and be like, we're gonna.
Here we go.
Yeah. Sorry.
Wow.
Sorry,
That's
you guys bought tickets to the demo session.
Yeah. I think. Well, but I'm always a fan of. I'll take a couple of clunkers for the gold mine.
I feel like that's what this show like. Yeah, I think it's all working pretty well, but then I'm finally finding every night I'm finding something a little more exciting about a bit. I'm amped up to.
That's great. That's great.
And then sometimes it just.
The process I understand the process of writing songs and arranging songs and playing them to the point where they make sense. So I'm endlessly fascinated with that in comedy, with the fact that, just from night to night, do you record your shows and listen back?
Yeah, it's the most painful thing in the world.
Yeah, it's got to be the worst. Because I'm the same way with just in music. It's just like, I know what it felt like. I don't want to, and then you have to listen and go, oh, well, yeah, that actually helps a lot.
Yeah, it really does. It's like eating your vegetables. This is a thing, I think, though, since you're a musician, like a real one, and I noodled around. There is such a thing as a wrong note in music. And in comedy, that's not a thing.
Right.
There's only how you play your notes.
Right.
Like I could never do Hedberg. As amazing as he is, no one thinks he's doing anything wrong when he's up there.
Yeah, right.
But if I was trying to do that, it would not. It would land like a turd from heaven, so. I think it's like the artistic choices are the instrument or the art form. I guess is like I always find that fascinating because music still has it has a structure, but it is a limitless structure. There's nothing you can do nothing. Whereas in comedy, I think it's just like being untethered from a spaceship. You're just kind of like, well, go out here and hope you land on a plane.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No question. I've said this a million times. Like, I'm a funny guy, but I'm not a funny guy. You know what I mean? Like, I can banter and have a good time. But I have stood in a comedy club at a special event and just had to kill 4 minutes, and it was torturous. It's like, whoa, this is
tell me about this.
Well, the first time I was with a couple of the guys, and it was and I killed it. So of course I thought I got and then I went up for a part of a thing with it was a whole Wild West Comedy Fest in Nashville at Zany's, and I got up late.
Was this Vince Vaughn's thing?
It was what's his name, Ari Shafir. And it was a thing.
I was texting with him earlier.
I just had to tell a story, and it was he does a thing called The First Time I Ever. And he has a bunch of people come up, and everyone tells a story about the first time they ever fill in the blank. And so this is like a midnight show. So the house is already loaded. Everyone's already been drinking and going to other comedy shows. It's a giant festival. Easiest crowd in the world to work, in my mind. I'm at least smart enough to figure that out.
If they're not too unbuttoned.
Right. Yeah. And so I was going to do a story that I had told before, with friends, and I felt good about it. It's the first time I ever did mushrooms.
Is this one of your dinner stories?
Pretty much. Yeah, first time I ever did mushrooms. It comes up on occasion. Someone will say,
I dined out on this one. It'll probably get me through 4 minutes of comedy.
That's all I needed. I just come on, do it. And so I'm standing in the back of the room with Ari, and so I go out to watch the guy right before me, and he's being totally cool. He goes, "See, dude, you'll see it. You'll get it. You'll be fine." And the guy that is in front of me, and it was funny because Kreischer was there that night.
Bert was there, yeah.
That night. It's the first time I met him. And the guy before me steps out, everyone applauds. He goes, okay, so the first time I ever did mushrooms, and I literally went, oh, no. and Ari goes, you got about 6 minutes to come up with another story. I was like,
I met my wife. Like, no one's going to care about that.
No, and I just had to come up with something, and it was really, it was, I walked off the stage that night and was like, never again. That was just the worst.
It really landed that hard on you.
To me, it did. It just felt like, I had an expectation of how I was going to go, and then the idea of, I got a few laughs out of it by the time it was over, but it was just the wrong kind of an adrenaline rush, like getting on stage with an instrument. You're holding something, you're sitting behind something.
You feel shielded.
You can blame the amp, you can drop a stick. You're just there with a microphone. It's like, no, you're either funny or you are not. This is
I just blame the audience.
Very simple math.
Yeah. There's a truth to that. I am so indignant right now, I will go on stage and be like, this is new stuff, but I know when it's my fault. And,
comedy from a very real place at Acme. I need to say this again tonight and tomorrow night. 2 shows, 7 and 9:30. Shane Torres. Wait, you started? So you're from Texas, but you got going as a comedian out of Portland, Oregon. Is that correct?
Did. Yeah. I ended up there. I was bartending for a few years after high school.
Okay.
Again, I lacked direction.
Yeah.
And this bartender I worked with was like the greatest guy, but kind of a career boozer.
Okay.
100% a career boozer.
Kind of. Yeah. Maybe all the way in.
You're like, this guy can, like, I remember, when you're drinking so much and when you're young and you're like, what is the consequence of this really? Because your body still recuperates at a pretty decent rate. This guy would take absolute Mandarin and freeze it in ice cube trays and put it in a glass and then pour orange juice over it for breakfast. And I was like, Tom rocks. Yeah. And then, like, one day he had a seizure behind the bar, and I was like, I had to stuff a bar rag in his mouth so he didn't bite. And I was like, I think I'm leaving this town.
Yeah, life comes around fast.
Yeah, and then I sold
for Tom and his.
He's doing great now. Yeah, he's like a little fat guy now. It's great.
Good.
And then I just packed up. I sold everything. I sold almost all of my musical stuff, and then I packed up and just was going to go to San Francisco and finish my degree. And then I got there, and I was like, "Oh, you cannot afford." I had like $300. I was like, "I think I'd probably buy property." Like, and then my friend who I grew up with lived in Portland. She was like, "Come up here, you'll like it." Everyone's depressed, and I went up there. She was just like, "It rains all the time. You're gonna love it."
Yeah, right.
And then I started bartending again. I moved 3,000 miles away to do the same thing I did for a long time for a little bit. But then I found my community in comedy up there, and then I always loved comedy, but I think you want to have that thing of like you fall in love with music first when you're young. I think a lot because like it's the first identifier.
Well, it's everywhere.
And it's the first identifier socially,
absolutely,
and it's more exposed. And then like I always loved comedy, and like some of the great. And then I was like, I went to this alt comedy show. And they were like, it was stuff I hadn't seen before. Like, it was like the first time I heard punk rock, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
You can do whatever you want up there. Yeah. Like, and these guys, like, I mean, and it was just the craziest group of people. Like, most of them are dead now, but like, man, they were fun to watch, dude.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing quite like. I mean, I had the same thing as a kid, just obsessed with music and listening to records and wanting to play and be in a band. And like I watch Earth, Wind and Fire on TV, and you think, how do you do that? And then you watch the Beatles on Ed Sullivan Rewind, and I'm watching Kiss and all. But the first time I walked into just a hole-in-the-wall club and saw a bad band, I went, oh, that's how you do it.
There's not really a barrier to entry for a lot of this stuff.
Exactly. You just do it. I get it now. It's really pretty simple. It's crazy how that works.
It was wild. And I like you said, the Ed Sullivan Theater, like, you take these things for granted, but I did Colbert, and they taped that in the Ed Sullivan Theater.
Yeah.
And I was in a horrible mood when I was like, everyone's taking too long. And just like, I'm mad at everyone, like in hair and makeup and stuff.
Okay, sure.
And then I was like, obviously it was just anxiety and me being, and then I was walking around the studio where they would let us go. And then there was just a picture of the Beatles from the show there. And I was like,
right there.
Oh, maybe you need to be a little more grateful for what's about to happen. Like
it's a head turner.
And then I kind of, I kind of was like, oh my God, like, And I stood there, and then the production assistant saw me stealing a bunch of the treats out of the green room when I was leaving.
Attaboy.
And then they just aired it without telling me it was going to be on. So I just found out I was going to be on Colbert through a tweet, and I was like, I guess I'm on Colbert tonight if anyone wants to know this dream. Like, yeah, it came full circle.
Shane Torres is at Acme tonight and tomorrow night, 7 and 9:30, both nights. First concert you ever saw?
First concert, 94, Edge Fest, like a radio, like 94.5 The Edge, Dallas, Fort Worth. And who was there? It was who was on the radio at the time. So I think it was like some of the underbill bands were like Deep Blue something.
Deep Blue.
So you remember them, Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Yeah, I knew the song. I knew it was something like that. Okay.
Yeah. And Parade of Losers was a band that was on it.
Sounds like a fun group of guys.
Yeah, they resonated with me the most because all their shirts were the McDonald's logo, but they said Mick. I can't say on the radio, but and I thought that was funny. And then the Nixons, and I think
the Nixons,
Pearl Jam. Yeah,
they had the song that everyone thought was Pearl Jam.
Yeah, Sister. Yeah. That guy's he's a Nashville guy now.
Oh no, I know him. Yeah,
you know Zach Malloy.
Yeah,
really.
Our kids went to school together.
Seriously?
Yeah. I know Zach. He's a great guy.
That's what, because that was the first record I ever bought with my own money. Was Foam.
That's awesome.
That's great because it had the girl on the front and there was like fire behind her and she was blindfolded. Yeah. I actually played Zany's Nashville before I routed down to do my first half hour with Comedy Central, and we went through Nashville. Okay. Sold no tickets. Now we're doing good. But I even wrote him on Facebook because I knew he was in Nashville.
Oh, really?
And then he I saw that he saw it and he never responded. I was like, "Ah, God, you idiot!"
That's the worst.
Yeah. But I loved 2 or 3 of their albums were really, really. They're touring again, I think.
No, they are. They're back together. Oklahoma band, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they were Oklahoma boys, but they kind of broke out of Dallas.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
So you did say you were playing a little bit. What were you? Guitar?
Guitar, bass, and then I studied vocal performance in junior college.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tonight at Acme, Shane Torres leading with an aria. It's going to be great. Yeah, that's going to be gorgeous.
Well, I was the modern Major General in the Pirates of Penzance, if anybody.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa,
so if you guys
just shifted gears here.
Yeah. If you thought it was all just fart jokes,
burying the lead. Come on, man.
Look.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you.
Pleasure's all mine.
You're
Thanks for making
welcome
the time.
anytime. Right.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.